and beautiful.
Craper Ace is already an incredible deal at only $49.95. But to celebrate our 10-year anniversary, we'll also send you 2 free gifts. First, it's the Body Firm Skin Revitalizing Tool, the perfect trifecta of heat, vibration, and light therapy to promote more radiant, vibrant, and healthy-looking skin.
It's free. That's right, free. When you order today.
Next, it's the award-winning neck repair treatment. Packed with encapsulated retinol, it's clinically shown to visibly lift, firm, and help improve the look of sagging skin on your neck.
Get all this, a $247 value for only $49.95, plus free shipping.
And every order comes with our 60-day money-back guarantee.
That youthful, healthy-looking, gorgeous skin that you think you've lost? It's waiting for you. Craper Ace is how you get it back.
This incredible offer is not available anywhere else. So call or go to thebodyfirm.com right now.
Whether you're in your 40s or 50s,
Or your 60s or beyond, Craper Ace works.
Welcome back. Well, coming off the weekend, this may be hard to believe, but fewer Americans say they're drinking alcohol these days.
Well, here are the sobering facts. A new Gallup poll shows only about 54% of Americans asked say that they drink alcohol at all. And that's the lowest number in nearly a century, John.
That's interesting. Gallup saying the results are in line with research showing drinking alcohol in any amount is bad for your health. Well, Deneen, just yesterday I had 3 drinks.
What's in here? Oh. It's empty.
Yeah.
Just yesterday. Go ahead. 3 drinks.
I had 3 drinks. I guess I just busted through this research report.
It's all right. You're allowed. You're allowed. You've been a busy guy. You're trying to calm down, bring it down a bit.
Yeah, and ease my way back. Right?
And here you are.
But you know, I did cut my alcohol consumption, especially at this age. Folks, I know I look good, but it's not good to actually consume a lot of alcohol, but in moderation, except for yesterday.
The Borelli household has cut down as well. So we're on the same page here.
Absolutely. And a lot of the youth, and this has a lot of the hard beverage companies thinking twice about their strategy going forward because the younger generation, they're drinking less. They're going for these hard seltzers and energy drinks instead
hard liquor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So who knows? We might actually see less liquor on the shelf.
Interesting trend.
And I guess that's a good thing.
It is. It is.
You know what's not a good thing? We got to end the show.
We're done. Oh, boy.
But that does it all for us this morning, right? But we'll be
right back tomorrow, folks. Have a great morning.
Enjoy the Dove. Help spread the word. Tell someone who needs the love of Jesus about the Dove's encouraging and informative programming. Spread the word.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Let's Make a Deal.
I'll take door number 2.
There he is, right there.
Behind door number 2.
This is what you got behind door number 2 right here. We selected it. Anyway, good morning. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. And a lot going on. Another high-stake meeting in Washington, D.C. as we speak. We'll keep you updated on that. And, the weekend had a touch of fall to it.
Boy, how about that?
Yeah, warm days, very pleasant days, cool nights, and a lot of trees are starting to turn already.
Yeah, how about that little bit of rain we got?
A little bit of rain.
Huh?
The acorns are falling.
Hey, guess what? Don't hold your breath for more cool weather.
Yeah, I know
it's going to start climbing.
See, that's it. We have short days, so you have warm days and cool nights. Yeah. That turns the leaves.
But we're going back to the upper 90s.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yep.
All right. Good morning to you. It's hard to believe. Some school has started. Some school will be starting. And then we're only 2 weeks away from all the schools starting.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, happy Monday to you. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well.
What do you got?
It's a beautiful Monday morning, and it is National Mail Order Catalog Day.
Really?
And what was once the most popular way to shop is remembered each year on this day as National Mail Order Catalog Day. And did it ever stop? The only difference is our catalogs are online.
Well, yes.
You know that big Amazon catalog?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the big one.
Start flipping through it.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I still get some mail order catalogs.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
miss the ones that used to get in the little seat pocket in front of you when you flew on an airplane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was, what was the name
That
of
was the one that looked, because they had all the cool gadgets in it.
Yes, and a lot of sharper image stuff in there. And yes,
Yeah.
I always page through that stuff.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Well, this day marks the anniversary of the first Montgomery Ward's mail order catalog. It was on this day in 1872. Aaron Montgomery Ward of Chicago produced a catalog designed for direct order via mail. He aimed to remove the middleman from the business of buying and bullying. They think salesmen are bullies? What?
Well, now, let's just redefine that.
Yes. So, but you know, it's interesting too because, you know, Montgomery Ward was on the cutting edge. They were on the front edge of this mail order business. How did they lose their way so much?
Well, that and Sears.
See, exactly. Yeah.
The Sears catalog was in every outhouse in America.
Oh, we lived on the farm. We lived out of the Sears and the Montgomery Ward's catalogs.
Yeah.
That's how, I mean, back to school shopping was in the catalog. That's the way we did it. So how did they miss the boat?
Well, I don't know if they did.
Montgomery Ward folded in 2001, and their name was bought by a direct marketing company.
Yeah.
And I went online and I went to the Montgomery Ward website, and it's an online shopping center. And I thought, why would anybody go here? I can get all this stuff someplace else.
I don't know. I don't know. I do know that special manufacturers have their catalog, like Orvis.
Right.
Land's End.
Yes.
You know, you can get these
Cole Haan.
Yeah. So, but I will say this: if you snoop around, you can't even beat their prices.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Where do you
Some of them you can.
Wait a
Some of them
minute.
you can't. Some of them are exclusive.
Where are you snooping?
Well, when it comes to Cole Haan's, I snoop all over the place.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. National Fajita Day. Recognizing the sizzling deliciousness of savory Tex-Mex flavor found in fajitas. And did you know it's really cowboy food? In the early 1930s, Mexican vaqueros in southwest Texas developed what we've grown to love all over the U.S. Using throwaway cuts of beef, they developed the fajita. And it became a staple in the region, and these cowboys cooked the steak over an open fire or grill. Once cooked, they served it with flour or corn tortillas. In later years, with pico de gallo, guacamole, Southwest spices, it all elevated the fajita. Soon the fajita, convenient meal for hardworking cowboys, made an introduction to new audiences, and it has been a destination food in the culinary world ever since. And you know, I love it when I order fajitas, or maybe you order fajitas, and when when it's coming out of the kitchen, because it's sizzling and you can smell it across the room.
The oil.
It's fabulous.
Yeah, it gets all over that, and you have to go home and change clothes.
Yeah, that too.
Smells like fajita.
And then you can top it off with ice cream pie, because it is National Ice Cream Pie Day. It is the second ice cream holiday in August, and it honors a refreshing frozen dessert that comes in many delicious flavors, because first came putting ice cream on pies, and then the natural next step would be making ice cream into pies. With all the flavors available, your options are unlimited.
But they put them in a cone.
Yeah, or you could do that, and of course, you figure in the different types of crusts to make ice cream pie, and the concept is beyond delightful, whether it's graham crackers or the standard traditional type pie crust. Okay, now let's travel. You have traveled through the Southern Hemisphere, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think where, yes.
Yeah.
New Zealand, yes.
New Zealand, yeah. And
Australia.
Australia. Well, did you realize, run that tape if you guys have that. Did you know that approximately 90% of the world's population lives in the Northern Hemisphere?
No, I didn't.
90%. This includes regions such as North America, Europe, and most of Asia, which all have larger land masses and more densely populated areas compared to the Southern Hemisphere. Other factors such as the concentration of major population centers and favorable climates contribute to this distribution. 90%. 8% live above the equator. Oh, is that crazy?
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. I didn't have a clue. I thought, wait a minute. Maybe, do we have any overcrowding in the northern hemispheres?
Well, then there's that, what I think they call it the 1040 window.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, the 1040 window is between, if I remember correctly, we got smart people out there, they'll correct me, but it's between the southern and the northern hemisphere, kind of just above the equator a little bit. And the 1040 window is where the vast majority of people who have been unevangelized live. And they call it the 1040 window, and a lot of people are trying to reach the population in that area. There's millions of people in that.
Interesting.
What they call it. And I can't remember. I shouldn't even go there, but it's a 10. I think they call it the 1040 window. I need to look that up. But again, to your point, I think they're just above the line.
Okay. All right.
So, but anyway, I didn't know. 90% above the line.
Above, yeah, in the northern hemisphere. How about that?
Well, we have cold weather. Well, southern hemisphere gets cold weather.
Oh yeah, they get their winters. You're right. Look at Antarctica.
Well, let's see, right now our summer it's winter down there, and then it reverses. You know, their winter is our summer.
Yeah, their days are starting to get longer.
Yeah,
ours are getting shorter.
But they do something else in New Zealand and Australia that's kind of cool.
What?
They have this thing. They actually take the month of, I think, from Christmas through New Year. No, Christmas through the end of January off. They like close everything down.
Yeah. Well, the end of summer they do that a lot in Europe as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They call them holidays.
What are we doing wrong here?
Well, we became competitive. We're capitalists.
Yeah, good point.
You got to remember, when we were first discovered by the people from the South, we had siestas. Okay. Then marketers came in, and while everybody is taking a siesta, they went out and started calling on the other guy's client. So while people were taking a nap, somebody else was calling on your client.
You know what? That's true, man. That is true.
And poof, came the American economy.
Oh, my goodness. All right.
All right. Well, here's a guy that, well, he can be above or below any line you want him to be.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. Increasing high pressure will keep things dry and warm, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, decreasing clouds in upper 70s for Vancouver and Portland and low 80s in Wilsonville, mostly sunny near 79 in McMinnville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with decreasing clouds, becoming mostly sunny with daytime high temperatures in the low 80s for Salem and Albany and upper 70s in Corvallis and Eugene with a light west wind. In central Oregon, sunny with a high in the mid-80s around Prineville, mostly sunny in Bend and Sun River with daytime highs in the low 80s. Over in Boise, Idaho, sunny and hot with a high temperature near 95. Patchy fog in spots along the Oregon coast this morning, then clearing to sunny and low 70s in Coos Bay, mid to upper 60s for Port Orford, near 56 in Brookings, and low 60s in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, sunny skies for the Rogue Valley with daytime high temperatures in the mid-80s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. In the Klamath Basin, sunny with highs in the low to mid-80s. Sunny skies continue as we move into northern California with daytime highs near 87 for Wairika and Redding and near 86 in Chico and Sacramento with a light and variable wind this afternoon. In the Bay Area, patchy fog, then sunny and near 77 in Santa Rosa, becoming sunny in mid-70s in Napa, mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the upper 60s, and today in San Jose, becoming sunny and near 77. A snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, good morning to you. A little shot of our valley this morning. We have a layer of clouds over the top, actually keeping the temperatures very pleasant out there. And we're looking at 63, which is really pleasant.
Yeah.
That'll start to break up and warm up, so we'll keep an eye on that for you.
Right. Well, here's a rhetorical question. Are you obedient to the Spirit when you are prompted to share your faith? I know some people think, okay, Lord, give me an opportunity, and the opportunity comes, you think, is that really the one, Lord? Yeah, really? Well, looking at Lydia in the book of Acts, Dr. Anthony George offers this encouragement.
And what this tells us is that Lydia was the first person in Europe to trust Jesus Christ on Paul's missionary journey, which makes her a very significant character in Christian history. She is a perfect example of someone whose heart God has already been preparing. Many times we're fearful if we're going to talk to someone about Christ that they won't be ready. And what we have to realize is God always goes before us. If He's leading you to share, He's already been working in their heart, getting them ready to hear what it is He wants us to share. Can you imagine if Paul had ignored the Macedonian vision? Can you imagine if he'd gone to Philippi, but he hadn't obeyed the prompting, go down to the river and talk to those women? Can you imagine if he got down to the river and said, this is just a bunch of women, I'm kind of awkward talking to these women, and he had retreated? But he did not give in to any reason to hesitate. Instead, he boldly opened his mouth. He shared the gospel with Lydia, and she and her whole family came to know Jesus. This shows us the value of our obedience to God when He's leading us.
Yeah. Well, think about that. God has already gone before you. If He's prompting you to share the gospel with somebody, there's a high probability He's already conditioned that person. Okay. Scripture says, I was seen, with it, Romans 10:20, I was found by those who weren't seeking me, and I manifested myself to those who didn't ask. So the miracle of a heart being open at the right moment is a God thing, and He'll prepare that ground for you. You're just the seed planter, you're the deliverer.
But I think it's hard for some people sometimes because we know we're the seed planter, but when we come out, we put that seed down, and if we don't see something sprout, we get discouraged.
Yeah. Yeah, some plant, some water.
Well, it takes a while.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's like my lawn.
Yeah, like your weeds.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right, well, let's take a look at the news. Of course, late Friday, was quite a day. As did you watch any of the meeting of President Trump and President Putin?
I got some coverage. I saw some highlights. Yes,
it was really pretty amazing.
Yeah.
The two jets part.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay. Then they had red carpet coming from Air Force One, the one coming from Putin.
Right.
And they meet.
And then the flyover.
Oh. So they shake hands. They look up. Here comes a B-2.
Yes, with 4 fighters.
Yeah. Some people said that was intimidation. Well, hey, it's our Air Force base. They're out flying around.
Hey, wait a minute. And then Putin got in the Beast with Trump. They went for a ride in the Beast, and they went down a line of fighter jets.
Yeah.
Talk about intimidation. But it was pointed out that was the only time that those two leaders were absolutely alone in the backseat of the Beast, and it was reminded that Putin speaks fluent English.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you love to hear some of that conversation?
Are you telling me that backseat wasn't bugged? Come on.
What a thought.
Come on. Well, anyway, it was really cool. And then there was a red carpet to the platform where it said, Alaska 2025, and they stood out there for a while.
Yeah, it looked like the Olympics or something.
Yeah. Yes. Well, anyway, it was quite the meeting. They went on for several hours. They ended up having their lunch and their news conference. No hard deal was made, but good groundwork was laid. And then in the meantime, President Trump on his way back apparently hears from Zelensky, and President Zelensky and a bunch of other European leaders are at the White House today. This is really something. So anyway, here's what Zelensky is saying prior to going into the meeting with the president. No land. We're not giving up an inch. Okay, well, you'd expect him to draw a line in the sand, so to speak.
Yeah.
So he's saying it's impossible to concede territory to Russia. And so in calls for immediate ceasefire. How can we talk peace if you're going to keep bombing us? I think that's legitimate. If you're really serious, stop the fighting. Let's talk.
Yeah.
But not keep bombing us and keep talking.
Okay, yeah.
So, in the meantime, European leaders are going to join today. This is really something. You have the European Commissioner, you have the French President, Macron, you have Prime Minister from the UK, Starmer, German Chancellor Merz, Italian Prime Minister Meloni, and Finnish President Stubb are just among the few who will be accompanying. You got those things the other way around. That should be at the first. Anyway, there we go. They're going to all be meeting with Zelensky and President Trump today. This is really interesting.
It's very interesting, yes, yes.
I didn't know that he'd be coming with the coalition. You know what I think this does? first of all, there are some things that have been negotiated. The envoy says that Putin did agree to security protection for Ukraine as part of the summit.
Okay.
So basically, the president's saying Article 5 within NATO would be given to Ukraine for protection, which basically has all of Europe saying, we'll protect you, Ukraine, without becoming a full-blown member of NATO.
Right.
Okay, so we'll see how this goes. But here's what's so interesting to me. I hope I can say this so it comes out right.
Okay.
All right, so the president meets with Putin. Not really. It's, at least friendship has been extended. Civility is being accomplished.
At least they're talking.
The doors are open. At least they're talking. I was really amazed over the weekend listening and watching all the media respond to this.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't it interesting to me that all of a sudden the media are geopolitical diplomacy experts?
Yeah.
Well, where were you during the Biden years?
Right, exactly.
Doesn't this guy get an ounce of credit for at least trying something?
Right. What did you see the Biden administration do except throw money blindly at Ukraine?
I'm really just, okay, look, at least he's trying, and no credit for this.
Yeah.
It's just, according to the media, everything he's doing is wrong, okay? Yeah. And so here comes Zelensky with his entourage from Europe. Now, what is this all about? And I have a funny feeling it's about this. Right now, the president walks away, and he does have a feel for Putin.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a simple question. This is a hard question to answer.
Oh, okay. All right.
Who is the initial bad guy here?
Well, I think that the gut reaction on the world is that it's Putin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Ukraine didn't invade itself.
Right.
And Putin saw a weakness in Biden, and he went ahead and went for it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Putin even admitted during the news conference that had President Trump been president, this war probably wouldn't have taken place.
Yeah, and Trump has pointed that out numerous times, yeah.
So technically and fundamentally, should Putin be awarded anything? And the answer should be no.
Right. So
he came in and killed innocent people because he wants land.
Right. Yeah. Well,
and we are awarding his efforts by giving him something. So I think what Zelensky's doing is bringing all of Europe with him and saying, stop Russia. Just stop it. Stop this nonsense. We don't want Russia on our doorstep at any level. I think that's what this is about. And Trump's really in a tough spot here.
Yeah, I think he is, too, because I would think that Putin's attitude would be, you can't give me anything that I already have.
Okay, but he took it by force.
Yeah, right, but he's got it. So how can he say, you're not going, you can't give me this? I possess it.
Well, that might be his attitude.
Yeah.
And Zelensky's attitude is, well, he needs to give it up. Well, that ain't going to happen.
Right, exactly.
Look, this is high-stakes negotiation and diplomacy.
We don't have a clue, but you know what really caught me? You brought up the media coverage of this. And Margaret Brennan had a very, very contentious confrontation with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And she contended that Zelensky was bringing the European leaders as a support to not be bullied by President Trump. Do you think any European leaders would be coming to this meeting if Trump didn't tell them they could come to this meeting?
Well, not only that, but do they really want to tick the guy off that can ruin their economy?
Right, right. And I love the term she said that Trump was going to bully Zelensky into an agreement. It's like, and Rubio just went, this is nonsense. Yeah. This is garbage.
I think that Putin's in for a little bit of a shock because President Trump still has the Trump card, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
And it's called, sanctions and tariffs. Okay, number one. Number two is he does allow Ukraine to become part of NATO, which will really tick off. But
do you think that?
I'm not saying he's going to do that. What I'm saying is, if Putin doesn't play ball here in a right way, he'll end up being the big loser.
It could, yeah.
Okay.
Let me ask you this: wouldn't you be surprised if Ukraine was accepted into NATO?
Well,
this is a long-standing agreement.
But okay, but let's think about this. They're already offering them Article 5 of NATO. So that's protection without belonging to NATO. That could be the compromise. Okay. But you cannot make a deal with Russia without protecting Ukraine. I think if you're looking at the big picture here, if Russia is going to end up with some of the real estate that they've already conquered, which I think is Putin's big deal, and it's also a rub to Zelensky, you got to put in place something that protects Ukraine from Russia. Just looking at this as just as a generational pause, and we'll do it again down the road.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Putin didn't like the press.
No. Well, you know, he controls the press.
Well, he's not used to a free press.
Yeah.
But I just found it so interesting. So we'll see what happens. High-stake media today, meeting today at the White House. This is this is big-time stuff. I'm just really surprised that the media doesn't give President Trump even the credit for trying something.
Yeah. Hey, I got an aviation question. What does Putin fly?
Well, that's a good question. That is a Russian-made Antonov, but it's a different one. It's not the big cargo one.
Okay.
It's kind of like their answer to 747.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's a big airplane.
Yeah, it looked really big.
No, it's a big airplane. I don't know what it's like inside.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody knows what it's like.
I went on board the Antonov. It was over here.
Yeah, the cargo plane here?
Yeah, a couple of years ago. And I saw where those pilots were sitting. I mean, it's a flying tin can.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you surprised?
I was shocked. I walked in the cockpit and I looked at this and I go, you guys, I mean, what do you do? Bring your own cushions for your seats?
Oh, no kidding.
They were metal seats. I'm looking at this. Certainly you don't sit in that thing for hours after, do you?
Wow.
The insulation's kind of hanging around up there on the ceiling like this.
Yeah.
You know? And of course, the cargo part's the cargo part. So.
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that.
But both these guys, both Putin and Trump, you know what they like?
What?
Gold.
Oh, yeah.
You ever seen him?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the Oval Office lately?
Oh, yeah.
It looks like a shrine.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
And have you seen Putin in all his setups?
Right.
Same thing.
And Trump's even wearing gold ties these days. It's amazing. It's true.
All right, so we'll see how the talks go. It's high stakes. It's easy for us to armchair this thing, but I have to tell you that this is serious stuff. And I really think that Putin is going to have to make some huge concessions or the world's going to put the squeeze on him.
Oh, wait a minute. Time out. I want to back up. Did you hear what Hillary said?
Oh, what was? Now go ahead and remind me.
She said that if Trump actually swings this thing, he should get the Peace Prize.
Well, Hillary.
Can you believe that?
You know, there's two people trying to make the news today.
Who?
Hillary and Newsom.
Okay.
They are both making noise.
Well, and why?
Well, they want to be heard and seen. And Newsom's in South Carolina snooping around. What's he doing over there?
Right. I think I can figure Newsom out, but Hillary, I don't know about her.
She just wants to be a player again at some level.
Oh, okay. All right.
And besides, it's called diversion.
Well, yeah.
Can you say Benghazi?
Well, Benghazi, and can you say Epstein?
And
they're focusing on Bill.
And email.
Yeah. And
email.
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
Stay tuned.
As the stomach turns.
As the stomach turns. Yes, okay. Well, listen, anyway, we are above the equator, and we take in clean air. We'll be right back.
Grange Co-op, where big ideas grow.
Mornings on the Dove is in some ways, a typical morning show in that we look at the news and events of the day, but we're very untypical in that we look at it through a lens of biblical truth.
The Dove helps you to bring a balance to life in order to not only bring the spiritual application to what's happening to the everyday life, but to bring you the stories in a way that you're not overwhelmed by it, you're just informed by it.
Although we sometimes have to deliver bad news and look at troubling situations, we look through it all to the hope of Jesus Christ.
We have a good time. We try to make sure that it's enjoyable. And most of all, I think Jerry and I just really enjoy working together and making fun of each other.
We have a great rapport. We go back and forth. We both have a lively outlook on the things that are going on in the world.
Wake up to fun and encouragement. Mornings on the Dove. Weekdays only on the Dove TV.
At Kelly's Automotive Service,
being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us
is at the core of our business.
We believe what we do matters.
Every interaction, every transaction is another opportunity
to bring Christ's values into the marketplace.
If you're a technician who wants to be part of something bigger,
or just looking for a new shop to bring your vehicle,
we would love to meet you.
We're Kelly's Automotive Service,
where we service your vehicle,
but take care of you.
Okay, boy, just so much fun on a Monday. What do you do with all this stuff? Well, here's one, Jerry Feinstein. You like him?
Who?
Jerry Feinstein, your buddy.
Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Kramer, too.
Okay, well, you know, when all this stuff happened in the Middle East, Jerry started getting pushback as a Jew.
Because he's Jewish, right.
And he kind of walked down the street and was just kind of like stunned.
Right, he got people were in his face for, I mean, Jerry Seinfeld, he's probably the least offensive guy out there.
Yeah, and so in the meantime, he's certainly backing Israel. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he did a performance in Eugene over the weekend, and sure enough, there's a protest out there.
Of course.
I think 8 people showed up. Okay. To protest him, but he was there doing his little comedy routine. And at the Holt Center there in Eugene, it was a sold-out evening. I would imagine it would be.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
You know, and anyway, it was sold out, and but the protesters are out there and filed us, you know, they're showing some signs of him being a supporter of Jew, and they were against that. So they were pro-Palestinian, pro-two-state people.
Yeah, yeah.
So, poor guy.
Yeah, well, you know, he was stunned at the first confrontation that he encountered.
Yeah.
I don't think he could quite believe it, simply because of his heritage.
Yeah.
He hadn't spoken up about anything. He hadn't said a word, and they're in his face. It's like, you know, I think it just shows the intentions of the left.
So here's the thing. Think about this. Is this an oxymoron?
What?
Jerry Steinfeld in Eugene. Is that an oxymoron or what? I mean, Eugene is about as blue as they get.
Yeah, but traditionally, so is Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
He's a Jewish Democrat, like 90% of the other Jews in this country that I think are awakening and trying to, you know, figure out, have we had the right alignment here?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, the fact that they would invite him anyway, even after the fact, now he's still standing up for Israel.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah.
I felt sorry for the guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, gosh.
He's just an entertainer. You know, I remember listening to the interviews with Johnny Carson and that group of people.
Yeah.
They stayed away from this stuff.
And intentionally
stayed away from it, and it ended up being very successful.
Yes.
Every show that has gone down this road dies.
Right.
Look at late night television; it's falling apart like crazy.
Well, you know, it's interesting too, because you know, we talked about the hosts of the Tonight Show, and it went from Jack Parr to Johnny Carson to Jay Leno, and they all did the same policy. Jay Leno's really taking heat for that now.
Yeah.
And he has spoken up about his disappointment with late night hosts and interjecting their political views in it. And the commentators are just firing back at him. And one of the things that they fired back at him says, yeah, but you had a constant line of Monica Lewinsky jokes during the 90s. Like, well, yeah, that was really great material. Why wouldn't you?
I don't know.
It had nothing to do with anything else.
No.
But that is their take now, saying Jay Leno was a hypocrite on this because he made Monica Lewinsky jokes.
Okay, well, so much for all that nonsense. A snapshot of the weather. Here it is out there. Look, we still have some activity over the top of us. It slowly improves with less clouds and more heat. In fact, we'll be hot by the end of the week.
Yeah.
I should say at least warm, very warm by the end of the week.
Yeah, well, hot could be 97 to 99.
That's hot.
That could qualify. Well, GE Appliances CEO Kevin Nolan joined Maria Bartiromo, and he discussed the $3 million investment the company is making in the United States, and also discussed customer data security.
Yeah, so this is a big deal for us. You know, we've already invested $3.5 billion since 2016 into American manufacturing, but we just put another $3 billion commitment to bring more great jobs, more products back here into America and really focus on American manufacturing. 4,000 jobs already we've increased since 2016 in good paying, good benefits American jobs. And with this new investment, it's another 1,000 coming in. And one place you left out was Kentucky. We're sitting here in Louisville, Kentucky, where a big part of that investment goes in. This is our global headquarters right here. You look at everything on here, the software's here, the servers are here. You are secure on our stuff. There is no connections back there. And I'm an engineer, I'm a technologist, and we focus on that in a big way because we want to make sure our employees are secure, our customers are secure. And I can tell you, we look at this thing all the time, and that's where that data is. Yeah, and it's been a good ride, and I think the future is so bright, and I'm so glad we're finally talking about putting manufacturing back. I mean, if you remember back in GE, they never talked about that. We didn't talk about appliances and building and investing, but that's what we're doing because we know that's the right thing.
All right, I'd like to know where they're going to build those plants and expand what states, because California is, again, the highest unemployment state in the union.
That's amazing.
And we're going to turn around and put 6 cents on a gallon of gas. We're going to increase taxes across the board. We're going to double your payroll tax and expect businesses to stay here?
Yeah, right. Well,
I don't know when we're going to wake up to this.
Do you think it's only going to be 6 cents? I've been hearing leaks and reports that it's going to be more.
Well, okay. 6 cents for here. They didn't tell you about the other 10 cents over here. Okay. I don't know. I've read bits and pieces of this. I probably should get a copy of the whole bill. So I've been reading summaries. And so to the point is, can you trust anything you really read these days?
No. You know,
I was doing some surfing last night, trying to prepare for this morning.
Okay.
I can't believe the nonsense that's out there. And who in the world do you trust?
Yeah.
If you read every headline that's out there that is phony. My stars, just pull the covers out of over your head and don't get up this morning. Stay right there. Order room service.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Clean water is essential to your good health. Ultra Pure Purified Water has been delivering purified, healthy drinking water to the Rogue Valley since 1995. Locally owned and family-run, Ultra Pure Purified Water uses a multi-stage process ensuring your delivery of water is 99.8% pure, so your family stays hydrated and healthy. Online at ultrapurewaterinc.com or call 541-734-0828. 541-734-0828.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
big ideas grow.
They're fun-loving twins. They love God, hunting, and pranking each other. Join the Hamptons for outdoor adventure every weekend on Twin Factor. Brought to you by Black Flag Armory in Medford and Grants Pass. Truly excellent service.
All right, good morning to you. Happy Monday. Let's check in with CBN Newswatch and see what's going on in the Middle East this morning.
This is CBN Newswatch.
Thank you so much for joining us for CBN Newswatch on this Monday, August 18th. I'm Ephraim Graham. I'm going to begin this half hour in the Middle East, where Israelis held a nationwide protest this weekend demanding an end to the war in Gaza. Some families of the hostages believe these demonstrations send the wrong message to Hamas. CBN's Chris Mitchell has more now on our top story from Jerusalem.
At a mass rally in Tel Aviv Sunday night, some hostage families pleaded with President Trump to help end the war and free the hostages.
We now rise to save the hostages, the soldiers. We demand a comprehensive and applicable deal and the end of the war. We demand what we deserve, our children. And we will continue to demand until we get all of them back.
Hamas released footage of Zangauker's son, Matan, who pleaded for his life. Some believe Hamas timed the release of Matan's video to stir the emotions of the nation. During the day, organizers launched a nationwide strike to shut the country down. Police arrested dozens of protesters after they blocked main highways. But family members of those killed on October 7th told Israeli radio the protests play into the hands of Hamas. One family member said, "When we go out into the streets like this, Hamas sees us falling apart from within. For a comprehensive deal, Hamas needs to be on its knees." Another said the protests sow division. The more we escalate the struggle in this way, the more we will push the country into total chaos. And in my view, we will achieve nothing except terrible division among us. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said ending the war would serve Hamas.
Today, those who call for an end to the war without defeating Hamas are not only hardening Hamas's position and delaying the release of our hostages, they are also ensuring that the horrors of October 7 will be repeated over and over again, and that our sons and daughters will have to fight over and over again in an endless war. Therefore, both to advance the release of our hostages and to ensure that Gaza no longer poses a threat to Israel, we must complete the task and defeat Hamas.
IDF Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir announced the IDF is preparing the next phase of the war. First, to move the people of Gaza City south to safety, and then encircle the city to defeat Hamas. 100,000 reservists have been called up for the offensive.
And our Chris Mitchell joins us now to continue our coverage. So, Chris, some of the hostage families are demanding the end of the war, as you cited in your report. What are some of the other voices of concerns, the fate of the hostages?
Well, they're not as well heard, I think, as some of the others that you heard yesterday in Tel Aviv or on many of the main highways here in Israel. One of those voices is called the Tikva Forum, and you heard sort of the kind of sense they had in our report there. Tikva is a word for hope, and what they want to do is that Israel will finish the war, not end the war. They want to defeat Hamas. They believe this is the best way to be actually free the hostages, and they believe that any partial deal would be a surrender to Hamas and that the military pressure will yield results. These Tikva Forum and others in our report, they haven't got as much attention as the other hostage groups as the one yesterday, but they represent, I think, a sizable majority or sizable amount of Israeli opinion right now. And actually, one of the polls came out yesterday or that some of the groups on what they're doing, the civil disobedience, shutting down highways, a lot of Israelis don't appreciate.
A UN official is getting a lot of attention for comments about Hamas recently. What did she say, and why are some demanding the United Nations fire her?
Well, her name is Francesca Albanese. She's an official representative of the UN. She said people really don't have any idea of who Hamas is. that it's a political force that won elections in 2005. And since then, they've been putting together schools, public facilities, and hospitals, and that they are the de facto authority inside Gaza. And she said, when you think of Hamas, don't necessarily think about cutthroat people. On social media, you have people having her speech on one side and then what Hamas did on October 7th on the other. And you see that Hamas has already, since 2005, been building tunnels. In October 7th, they kidnapped and they murdered about 1,200 people. They also have, for the past generation, been training a generation of young Gazans to kidnap and murder civilians, to kill Israelis and kidnap. So many want to see that she be fired as soon as possible and wonder if the UN doesn't, if they actually agree with what she thinks about Hamas.
Here we go. All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Let's check out the weather for you on this beautiful Monday.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. Increasing high pressure will keep things dry and warm, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, decreasing clouds in upper 70s for Vancouver and Portland and low 80s in Wilsonville, mostly sunny near 79 in McMinnville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with decreasing clouds, becoming mostly sunny with daytime high temperatures in the low 80s for Salem and Albany and upper 70s in Corvallis and Eugene with a light west wind. In central Oregon, sunny with a high in the mid-80s around Prineville, mostly sunny in Bend and Sun River with daytime highs in the low 80s. Over in Boise, Idaho, sunny and hot with a high temperature near 95. Patchy fog in spots along the Oregon coast this morning, then clearing to sunny and low 70s in Coos Bay, mid to upper 60s for Port Orford, near 56 in Brookings, and low 60s in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, sunny skies for the Rogue Valley with daytime high temperatures in the mid-80s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. In the Klamath Basin, sunny with highs in the low to mid-80s. Sunny skies continue as we move into northern California with daytime highs near 87 for Wairika and Redding and near 86 in Chico and Sacramento with a light and variable wind this afternoon. In the Bay Area, patchy fog, then sunny and near 77 in Santa Rosa, becoming sunny in mid-70s in Napa, mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the upper 60s, and today in San Jose, becoming sunny and near 77. A snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
And a beautiful shot of our valley, the clouds overhead slowly giving way to sunshine today. So get ready, it'll be very warm to hot by the end of the week.
Yep, but that looks cool right there. Looking pretty good. All right, well, we're watching the news. Obviously, presidents are in the news, especially, the Russian president. But it was on this day in history as the world watched as communist hardliners launched a coup against the Soviet president on this day.
On August 18, 1991, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev was placed under house arrest by members of his own government, military, and KGB. Gorbachev had pushed reforms known as perestroika, restructuring the economy, and glasnost, greater openness, improving relations with the West. But hardline communists feared he was dismantling the Soviet Union, while reformers like Boris Yeltsin thought he wasn't moving fast enough. That summer, hardliners struck. While Gorbachev vacationed in Crimea, they cut off his communications and declared him ill, imposing a state of emergency. But in Moscow, Yeltsin rallied the resistance, famously climbing atop a tank outside Parliament to urge soldiers not to fire on their own people. Crowds flooded the streets, blocking the coup's advance. In just 3 days, the uprising collapsed. Gorbachev returned to power, but the damage was done. Within months, the Communist Party was dissolved, the Soviet republics declared independence, and by year's end, the USSR itself was gone.
And he ended up living in the Presidio in San Francisco.
What a series of developments.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll take a quick break. And what is today? Did we have any food today?
Today, what food did we have today? Fajitas.
Oh, fajitas. How can
you forget fajitas?
Fajitas. And what good are they? Not sizzling.
Yeah, they got to sizzle. Yeah.
All right. We'll be right back.
Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Get ready, Southern Oregon. The ROC Recovery Center, together with NIC Industries, Southern Oregon Signs, Happy Camper, Nick Alexander Films, My Grace Point, and theDove is proud to present the 6th Annual Strong and Courageous Recovery Festival. Join us Saturday, September 6th at Harry and David Ballpark for a powerful day of hope, healing, and community. The action starts at 8 a.m. with an 8-team softball tournament featuring local businesses and recovery agencies. And don't miss the return of the fan favorite Guns N' Hoses game, as Medford and Central Point Police face off with local firefighters in the ultimate battle for the badges. Bring the whole family. Starting at 10 a.m., the Kids Carnival Zone opens with pony rides, a petting zoo, face painting, carnival booths, and of course, great food. All proceeds support recovery services at the Rock Recovery Center. For more information, call 541-200-3000 or visit rockrecoverycenter.org.
Pastor Robert Jeffers of the First Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas.
Not just about Christ Jesus, but that I might know him.
Helping you learn, grow, and get on the pathway to victory. Catch it 7 times every weekend on theDove TV.
Okay, so we have, let's see here. We got Russia and Ukraine negotiations going. We got Gaza and Hamas. We got Iran sitting over there. We got China waving its saber at Taiwan. And in the meantime, China's economy is really in the ditch, but they've been raging warfare on the world in another way without firing a shot. It's called the gray zone. You ever heard of that?
No.
Well, I had Joshua Phillips on. He's kind of a pro in this area, and he talks about the gray zone, which is the aggression inside the CCP, and here's what he had to say.
So when people talk about warfare with the Chinese Communist Party, we think about, will they invade Taiwan? We think, okay, what's going on in the South China Sea? Trump just recently asked Japan and Australia, are you ready to go to war with China? But a lot of people who've been watching China for many years, myself included, we talk about warfare in another regard. One of the terms the Chinese Communist Party itself would use is what's called unrestricted warfare. And this includes warfare through economics. It includes drug warfare. It includes culture warfare, what we call soft power. It includes things like even, cyber attacks and other issues. A lot of my work over the years has focused a lot on how the Chinese Communist Party is using very large spy networks in the United States, infiltrating government, influencing business, influencing the media, and essentially trying to take over what they call the civil society, which they believe is a way of conquering another country without having to invade them.
Okay, so there's a couple of things left in this. They've done it through manufacturing and cheap labor. That's starting to reverse.
Yeah.
They tried to do it through COVID. It did work. The whole world was reset in 2 years.
Yes.
Okay, and now we know Wuhan, we know all the connections there, and you got Fauci, all that mess, which is really treasonous in so many ways.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got that going on. In the meantime, there's one last piece of the puzzle here that is huge, and I have not heard the president address this, and I'm not, look, he's obviously a pretty busy guy. He's got a lot on his plate, and everybody's telling him what he ought to do.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I get that one.
I bet you do. Oh, yeah.
Okay, but here's the deal.
What?
We have got to get our pharmaceutical back. Or in buying pharmaceuticals from China and encourage pharmaceutical companies in the United States to build plants here. Give them every incentive known to mankind inside this country to create an incentive for them to build plants here. We are still primarily dependent upon China for pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
I have a question, never got the answer to it.
And that is?
When a drug comes from China, is it ever tested for its purity?
Oh, that's a great question.
When the number one provider of fentanyl in the world comes from China, that was one of their gray zone secret things, is fentanyl. It came across from the southern border, it's coming across from the northern border. The whole problem with President Trump and the new prime minister up in Canada is over stop the fentanyl coming across the border.
Right. Yeah.
Who's paying who?
Yeah. Right.
Well, but seriously, folks, we have got to get our drugs, our pharmaceutical manufacturing back in the United States. And it has to be under the FTC, because how else are you going to figure out whether or not this stuff is meeting standards and is it pure enough?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know a lot of the drugs out there today, and Doug Gould will tell you this all day long.
Okay.
A lot of the drugs that these people are hooked on today are laced with fentanyl. Who's making this stuff?
Yeah.
And where's it coming from?
Right.
Well, most of the strings show that they go right to China. So if you're getting a layer of meth laced with fentanyl, you're dead.
Yeah. Wow.
And drug is like any other addiction. There's always one more. There's always another level. You got to have a little more. A little more, a little more. They're playing on the weakness of your soul and on your mind and your heart and your self-will. And sooner or later, you're hooked and you're addicted. But I don't know why we are not pressing China in this area. It could be out there. I don't know. But
that's an interesting term, though, the gray zone. And in that, you brought up Wuhan. And why was the last administration so quick to protect China? And when this theory that this virus was man-made and where it came out of, they fought tooth and nail trying to squelch it. Why? Why did the last administration do that?
Well, we were still member of the what's it called? The World
Health Organization.
Health Organization. WHO, the WHO. Yeah, we were still a member of that, and it had a lot of influence. Well, President Trump said, why are we paying these guys a penny?
Yeah.
When they are bought and sold by China.
Yeah.
So China did not only come up with Wuhan and the mess and all, and then you know what? This shows you how stupid and gullible we were, because it worked. Let's create a pandemic. Was it real? In some ways it was very real. People were dying.
Right.
I don't want to take from that aspect of it.
Yes.
But it appears now that it did come from China. And then we were stupid enough to rely on China to make the vaccine that was going to end it.
Right. Yeah.
And it didn't end anything.
Yeah, this doesn't make sense.
Take this and you won't get it.
Right.
They got it and they still died.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So to your point, why we haven't investigated this, I don't know. You got evil breaking out in so many fronts. Where do you go?
Yes. Yeah.
And hopefully the electorate in America is getting educated.
Well, I think we saw kind of a shift in the last election cycle, so I think you're right.
Let's hope so.
Okay. Well, we've all heard the phrase, don't poke the bear.
Mama bear?
Here is a case. No, not. But here's a case in point. Check this out.
In Florida, a man accused of stealing Smokey Bear signs from state forests and selling them online for $1,900 each got a surprise he didn't see coming. Smokey Bear himself showed up for the takedown. According to Florida Agriculture Commissioner Wilton Simpson, the suspect allegedly traveled from Pensacola to Orlando, swiping the iconic signs from protected forest areas and listing them on Facebook Marketplace. Naturally, law enforcement wasn't amused, but they were definitely creative. When officers from the Florida Agricultural Law Enforcement Team caught up with the man, they didn't just slap on the cuffs, they brought Smokey Bear along for the arrest. In a Facebook post, Simpson wrote, "What happens when dumb criminals poke the bear?" He added, "Big thank you to Smokey Bear for personally assisting in the arrest."
That beats Dumb and Dumber.
Isn't that wonderful? Wow. Oh, man. Those were quite the signs. You're right. That beats Dumb and Dumber. Yeah. That is amazing. Yeah.
Hi, my name's Smokey. Yeah, I'm here to arrest you. What?
Only you can prevent
Only
wildfires.
you can prevent forest
Yeah,
fires.
that's it.
Well, that's pretty interesting.
Uh-huh.
All right, don't poke the bear. All right, good morning to you. We've got Frank Gaffney coming up. Always good to have him around. We'll talk about what's at stake with the high-stake meeting coming up. Dr. Tim Murphy will be back with us, and we'll be talking about homeless and mental health. I have an interesting question about mental health. I'll ask you the question when I come back.
Great.
I take with you Philippians 4:6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. There's the formula for you today.
At Rogue Hearing in Phoenix, we help you hear life again, clearly and comfortably. From expert hearing tests to custom aids and more, the team at Rogue Hearing delivers care you can trust. Rogue Hearing in Phoenix at the shops at Exit 24. Personalized hearing care right here at home.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Watch the 700 Club every weekday. We bring you compelling interviews with the information you need for better health, stronger finances, and a more abundant life. Every day you'll hear inspiring stories from right here at home and across the globe. We cover the issues that matter most to you and your family. For thoughtful analysis and insight into the news of the day from a biblical perspective.
Watch the 700 Club Monday morning at 11 on the Dove TV.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
You really have sort of the wireframe, if you will, the template of how to pray. First of all, it's your Father who art in heaven. Yes, He's God. Yes, He's all-powerful. But guess what? He's your Father. And He's your Father who loves you. Jesus said, it's your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. We don't follow a stingy God. We don't follow an angry God. God is not mad at you. God is mad about you. And He can't keep His eyes off of you. And He wants to hear from you. My Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. It's great to offer worship and praise to God when you pray. Thank Him for what He has already done and ask for His will in your life.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
You're watching the Dove TV, encouraging and informative for Boise and the Treasure Valley. Seen on KTVJ3 and these Dove TV affiliates.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday to you. Welcome to Let's Make a Deal right here. Is it behind door number 1? No, because he's behind door number 2.
Take the other one.
Take the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, welcome to a Monday, as it's called, Let's Make a Deal in Washington, D.C.
Oh, boy.
And it's a big deal.
Yeah.
As Zelensky and the Zelenskyettes.
Okay, wait a minute.
Half of Europe's coming with them.
Okay, if you were an odds maker, do you have any idea what kind of odds you'd lay down on a deal being made?
I don't think so today. I think what happens today is what happened Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So Friday they got together, they listened to each other.
Right.
Today Zelensky comes with all of his his friends in Europe, and they're going to listen and make their case.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between, the mediators got to figure out where to go from here. Okay.
Are you encouraged that they are at least talking?
Yeah, you know what? I have to say this. I certainly don't have any of the inside information by any means. I'm a little encouraged that Europe's showing up like this, because what they're basically saying is stop Russia. Because if it's Ukraine today, it'll be Poland tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll be Romania the next day. I mean, there's no end to this. He wants all of Europe. So I think what you're going to have here is a good coalition of people expressing their thoughts, and the deal maker, whether it's behind door number 1, 2, or 3, he's going to have to figure out what he's going to do.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And what we're talking about is President Zelensky from Ukraine and 6 or 7 other European leaders are coming with him to the White House today to talk to the president. So we'll see what happens. But I am surprised over the weekend that no credit was given to the president for trying something. It was criticism from sunrise to sunset.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting, too, because I saw one talking head show disgust and disdain because Trump got nothing out of this meeting. It was like they went into this meeting saying, we're not going to get anything. We're just laying the pavement down here. This is a preliminary. So, he's taking a lot of heat from the press, but, that's to be expected, I guess.
All right, more on that coming up. In the meantime, it felt like fall over the weekend.
Yeah.
We had a cool day and cooler nights. Some of the leaves are actually turning. The acorns are falling like crazy. And the acorns are God's way of fattening up the deer and the bear.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
They're high in fat.
Yeah.
So they're fattening them up for the wintertime.
Okay. Yeah.
And so anyway, that's all happening. What's going on? What do you got?
Well, it is, first of all, it is National Mail Order Catalog Day. Once one of the most popular ways of shopping is remembered each year on this day as National Mail Order Catalog Day because it marks the anniversary of the first Montgomery Ward's mail order catalog, which was on this day in 1872 when Aaron Montgomery Ward of Chicago produced a catalog designed for direct order via mail, and he aimed to remove the middleman from the business of bullying and selling. Well, what an indictment on salespeople, huh? What? Yeah, so anyway.
Got a car lately?
And as a result, he drastically lowered prices through the catalogs. Now, my question is, first of all, these days never left us. We love mail order catalog or, shopping. And these days, our catalog primarily is Amazon.
Right.
And it's a huge catalog, but we are still doing it. And my question is, how did some of the stalwarts in this, like companies like Montgomery Ward's and Sears, how did they miss the boat on this?
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. I think they were so big they thought they were an icon unto themselves.
You know what? It's this unwillingness to change, maybe?
Yeah. It was the cassette tape will not go anywhere.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting, too, because I went online and thought, well, what happened to Montgomery Ward's? Montgomery Ward still exists, but it's a different entity because in 2001, when they kind of folded up and closed up shop, the name was bought by a direct marketing company, and the direct marketing company has since opened a website, the Montgomery Ward's shopping website, and it's, it's kind of an online catalog like many others. But I'd never heard of it before until I started looking it up. It's not something that pops up on our Facebook feed or anything like that to get us to go there. So I don't know how they're doing.
Well, I was really disappointed when airlines dropped Sharper Image.
Because
you'd sit there and you'd look at this catalog and they had all the gadgets in it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm thinking, why airlines being in the economic stress that they're under?
Yeah.
Why aren't they doing this? Why haven't they worked with like Orvis or Land's End or somebody and put their catalog in there?
I don't know, because that was great entertainment.
I mean,
I loved it.
Well, and not only that, but you talk about rifle marketing.
Rifle marketing. Now there's a new term. I like that.
I mean, you just got the person stuck in the seat. You got them, and they got your catalog.
That's wonderful.
You could pay a lot of money. They ought to test it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They ought to, buy a couple of flights out of Atlanta, from Atlanta to who knows,
I wonder what happened with that. Was it the advent of Amazon? They thought, why fight
the
it?
airline doesn't even put their magazine out there anymore.
Right.
You used to have a United Airlines or a Delta or something. You'd sit there and read their magazine.
Right.
Even that's gone.
Yeah, all they have now is the,
the throw-up bag.
And how to put your mask on if you need to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw up in this and breathe here.
Oh, okay. Let's move on to something to eat.
Okay. Let's do that.
With that in mind, it's National Fajita Day, recognizing the sizzling deliciousness of the savory Tex-Mex flavor found in fajitas, which really is cowboy food. That's because in the 1930s, Mexican vaqueros in southwest Texas developed what we've known and we've all grown to love in this country. Using throwaway cuts of beef, they developed the fajita. However, it wasn't long before they became a staple in their region, and these cowboys cooked the steak over an open fire or grill. Once cooked, they served it with flour or corn torts. In later years, fresh pico de gallo, guacamole, and southwestern spices elevated the fajita to what we know it, and it is one of the best things you can order in a Mexican restaurant because you know when it's coming, whether it's yours or somebody else's. You can hear it coming out of the kitchen, and then you smell it. It's sizzling. It's wonderful. Just be careful. Don't touch the plate.
Yeah. Muy caliente.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
And then you can counter it with ice cream pie. Ooh. It is our dessert for the day, the second ice cream holiday in August. It honors the refreshing frozen dessert that comes in many delicious flavors, so you can enjoy that. Okay, you have traveled to the southern hemisphere. You've been to Australia. Have you been to New Zealand and Australia both?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I did not realize this, that approximately 90% of the world's population lives in the northern hemisphere. So you were with the 10%ers.
Wow.
Only 10% of the world's population.
They have an attitude.
Well, yeah. And you can kind of see it when you look at that map. Yep. Look at most of the land masses above the equator. And, of course, some pretty big countries up there, too, including regions like North America, Europe, most of Asia. And, of course, large land masses up there, and better weather. Is it really better?
Well, it's opposite of ours.
It's it basically is it. Is it true that when you unplug a sink, and you know how the little whirlpool goes down, that in southern hemisphere it goes backwards?
No, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, goes backwards.
Really?
That's what I heard. That's what I read. Yeah, we're going to have to Google this, I guess. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's, it was on the internet. It's got to be true, right?
Okay. Well, there you go. The interweb.
The interweb, yes.
Okay, well, that reminds me, though, there's in evangelism, there's this thing called the 1040 window. Okay, so it's between 10 and 40 degrees north of the equator. Okay, and it stretches from North Africa across Southeast Asia. And that's kind of the window where most of the evangelism lately has been targeted because of the mass population in those areas.
Really?
So a lot of Christian organizations that are global in whatever they do, they are concentrating on that. So that's between 10 and 40 degrees above the equator.
Is Christian satellite TV in that zone?
Yes.
Pretty heavy? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Christian satellite network I'm trying to think of. It's I'm having a brain freeze. And the owner of that, he calls me at least once a month.
Really?
Perry, you need to put the Dove on this satellite.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, it's fine. It's just that your prices are too high.
Okay.
He'll call me again. Can we negotiate? And I said, well, let's start at 10%, not 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, let's be reasonable. You're going to reach, 60 million people or whatever it is. I just can't afford that. So.
Okay.
But he does. He's a nice guy. We talk all the time. And I see him at the NRP. When are you going to come on? And I said, you know what? You get an A in persistence.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah. All so right. Anyway, by the way, that was called the Sky Mall.
The Sky Mall. Perfect. You're right.
That was the magazine inside the airplane.
Sky Mall. I love the Sky Mall. That was wonderful.
Okay, so.
And that was in the days also that there was either a screen. Remember the screen up on the bulkhead up in the front? Or then it went to the screen on the seat behind you?
Yeah.
Now there's no screens.
Yeah,
Because now our screen is this, or your iPad,
Yeah.
or your computer. Because now they provide you
with the plug-in.
Yeah, and also you get, they have the movies in there, and you can get their feed. And
So-
things have changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's a guy that still has a Sears catalog outside in a little house with a half moon on it.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. Increasing high pressure will keep things dry and warm, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, decreasing clouds in upper 70s for Vancouver and Portland and low 80s in Wilsonville, mostly sunny near 79 in McMinnville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with decreasing clouds, becoming mostly sunny with daytime high temperatures in the low 80s for Salem and Albany and upper 70s in Corvallis and Eugene with a light west wind. In central Oregon, sunny with a high in the mid-80s around Prineville, mostly sunny in Bend and Sun River with daytime highs in the low 80s. Over in Boise, Idaho, sunny and hot with a high temperature near 95. Patchy fog in spots along the Oregon coast this morning, then clearing to sunny in low 70s in Coos Bay, mid to upper 60s for Port Orford, near 56 in Brookings, and low 60s in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, sunny skies for the Rogue Valley with daytime high temperatures in the mid-80s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. In the Klamath Basin, sunny with highs in the low to mid-80s. Sunny skies continue as we move into northern California with daytime highs near 87 for Wairika and Redding and near 86 in Chico and Sacramento with a light and variable wind this afternoon. In the Bay Area, patchy fog, then sunny and near 77 in Santa Rosa, becoming sunny in mid-70s in Napa, mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the upper 60s, and today in San Jose, becoming sunny and near 77. A snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
And a beautiful shot of our valley. Still has some clouds out there, keeping the temperatures very nice, but it'll slowly break up, give way to sunshine and rising temperatures.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know that in life and in our walk with the Lord, there are ups and downs that come our way. And with that in mind, here's some great encouragement from the Dr. Anthony George.
In your darkest hour, do you still have a song to sing? Do you worship or do you whine? Too often I have been guilty of whining instead of worshiping. You know, one thing I love about our church, we're a worshiping church. And I know the few weeks ago we had my 5th anniversary here, and it went a long service. But you know what? They said, "What do you want?" I said, "That's what I want, because I love to worship God. I love to sing the old hymns and the new songs of praise." Worship has a way of dispelling my doubts and fears. Worship has a way of lifting me out of my circumstances. Worship has a way of causing me to forget what it is that has deprived me of my joy. Worship has a way of causing the shackles to fall to the ground. Worship can create the earthquake that throws open the prison doors. And that's why I love being in a worshiping church like ours. And several people have asked me, "Well, you seem to be getting a little cozy with some Pentecostals here lately." Is that so? Is that so? You want to know why I'm so drawn to be around Pentecostals? Not because I believe all the things that a lot of Pentecostals believe, but I have found there is something that when you get around some Pentecostals, there is this exuberance in worship that I say, "Lord, I want some of that right there. I want the freedom to completely get before the throne of God and sing my praises to Him and lift up holy hands to Him and praise Him for the God of my salvation that He is." I am not a Pentecostal. I'm still a Baptist, but I'm telling you, I love it when there is a spirit of worship. It's one thing, though, when we're doing it in this room. It's another thing locked up when your world is falling apart, which is what was happening to Paul and Silas. But when their circumstances said, "Don't praise Him, don't trust Him," they sang their praises anyway.
Amen, brother. Wow.
Well,
wow. That's awesome.
Two things you ought to. He's becoming one of my favorite guys to watch. I watched him yesterday.
Wow.
There's two things you ought to consider when you're watching him. Listen to him explain how he and Dr. Stanley got together, and how Dr. Stanley took him into the prayer room.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
Yes.
Absolutely hilarious. And then the other one is he spoke recently at Jimmy Swaggart's 90th birthday, which was like a month before he passed away.
Yeah.
And he came out and said, "Well, I guess I'm the token Baptist here." But he kind of, anyway, look, I like Dr. Anthony George.
Mm-hmm.
I think he put some jalapeno on his cereal, and we're kind of like you.
Yeah.
And away he goes.
He understands worship.
Yeah.
He gets it.
Well, you're a worship leader. So you guys, you know, I will say this about worship leaders.
Yeah.
You are charismatic. You're like engineers. You speak another language. And few people know what it is.
Sometimes we can speak in a look.
Well, that's true, too.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. In a look.
In a look, yeah.
A charismatic look.
All right.
All right, let's take a look at some of the headlines this morning. And the big one is, as you know, over the weekend, Friday actually, the big summit took place in Anchorage, Alaska at the Air Force Base as President Trump and President Putin came together. They met for a little over 3 hours. They had a quick meal, news conference, and they both got on their big planes and flew away.
Yeah.
Well, that was Friday. So the president flies back 7 hours to get there, 7 hours gets home. He gets home in the middle of the night, like 4 in the morning or something like that. Rests up because today he is meeting with Zelensky and from Ukraine. And Zelensky declares it's impossible for Ukraine to give up territory to Russia and doubles down on the ceasefire. He's basically saying this: we are not going to give up anything until there's at least a ceasefire. How can we talk when you're still bombing us?
Well,
and I think that's legitimate.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Yep.
So the president is thinking, well, you got to give up what they've already taken. Okay. A lot of people are opposed to that because you're awarding them for their aggression. Okay. In the meantime, Zelensky's coming to Washington, D.C. today to meet with President Trump. And so he's bringing with him the European Commission President, French President Macron, British Prime Minister Starmer, German Chancellor Merz, Italian Prime Minister Meloni, and Finnish President Stubb, among the others. He's bringing them all with him to meet with the president. Now, some people say this is a loss for the president. Some say it's a win. But I think you make a good point. The president wouldn't meet with him if he felt that these people weren't welcomed.
Right. And in fact, these people didn't just tag along.
No.
Nobody comes to the White House without like prior approval or an invitation. Period.
So this is how it's going. So the president is trying his best. He's saying basically we're going to offer you Article 5 out of NATO, which basically is protecting Ukraine without Ukraine becoming a member of NATO. So we'll see if that's going to be a big enough carrot. In the meantime, Special U.S. Envoy Steve Witkoff said that the Russian leader, President Putin, agreed at the summit with President Trump to allow U.S. and European allies to offer Ukraine security guarantees resembling NATO's protection. So we'll see. Where does this go, and what's it all about? And we don't have all the insight, but I don't think the president, if he didn't feel comfortable with all of them coming, I think at the end of the day, what Europe is saying to the United States, or saying to President Trump, we can't have any more of Russia getting any closer to us.
Right, yeah.
You have got to stop this. How you can do it, I don't know. Now, this was kind of cool when they met. They had red carpet coming from Air Force One, red carpet coming from Putin's plane. Then they met, they shook hands. The B-2 bombers flew over.
That's pretty good timing, huh?
Some people said it was intimidation. Well, hey, it is American soil and it is American air base. They're all flying around. That's what they do.
And then after that, they jump into the Beast together, alone. And they drive down a line of American fighter jets, the latest generation of fighter. So was that intimidation too?
You know what those were?
What?
Those were the 47s.
Oh, you're kidding.
Okay, which is kind of interesting.
I was going to say, Putin, you don't have a jet named after you, do you?
Look, it worked, I guess. But so today, the other half of the meeting meets today, and that's Zelensky and President Trump. I guess to my surprise and disappointment, I should say, not surprise, but to my disappointment, President Trump isn't getting an ounce of credit for trying something.
Right. What did Joe Biden do in this situation other than throw money at Ukraine?
Well, that was covering up Ukraine for being a money laundering machine for high-profile people.
Yeah, with no accounting anywhere.
So my thought is, though, that I don't know. I just thought it was amazing. I read I snooped around, do what I do, but I couldn't find anybody that was really saying the president's should get credit for trying something.
No, they're just bashing.
All of a sudden, every one of these people are geopolitical bargain experts.
Yes, yeah.
Deal maker experts.
Right.
He should be saying this. He should be doing this. He lost this. He lost it. Well, when has anybody tried to really stop this war?
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, it's pretty amazing.
Margaret Brennan got into it with Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, when she was saying that the European leaders are coming so that Trump doesn't bully Zelensky into an agreement that's not right. And Rubio was appalled, and he really fought back. But you're right. That's how the media is covering this.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad. I have to tell you, folks, hopefully when you surf social media, you surf the internet these days, and you're looking for stories, you have an inkling of what's true.
Yeah.
Because some of the headlines out there are just flat, bald-faced lies, and you're barraged with them, and you got to have enough knowledge about the subject to really know whether or not you're being taken advantage of.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, because I have kind of gotten into a practice lately of when I look something up to find out if its veracity, I start by saying, is it true that?
Yeah.
And I put into and then you'll get the various articles that either support or debunk it. And then you have to sort through that stuff and figure out, okay, where's this? But generally, you can get some kind of an inkling, but it's tough because, we have an old saying. It says, it must be true. It was on the internet.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we know what that means.
It's just not. You just got to be really careful. All right, we'll take a quick break, and what is today? Oh, yeah, but it's got that ice cream pie thing.
Pie, yeah, it's got ice cream pie, right.
It can come in a swirl on a cone. Ask for the Ed Miller map of soft ice cream up and down Interstate 5.
Big ideas grow.
Hey, it's your old car here. Remember me? Remember us? You barely even turn me on anymore. It's clear you don't need me, but that's perfectly fine, my friend, because you can choose to give this old car new purpose and donate. There are incredible nonprofits out there that accept cars just like me. So call or donate online. Donating a vehicle is easy, the pickup is free, and your gift is tax-deductible.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
The most challenging things that happens when you're doing interviews is you interview somebody that their answer is yes, no, yes, no. Those are very, very difficult to do, and you hope it's over real soon. Then you have those that you ask a question to, and they just go on and on and on. I mean, you could literally leave the set, go out and have a hamburger, and come back, and they're still answering the question.
Focus Today, weekdays at 8 on the Dove Radio and TV.
All right, good morning to you. 25 minutes past the hour. A little bit of backyard news, I guess. Up in Eugene, the comedian, really a great guy, Jerry Seinfeld, was doing a show up in Eugene at what they call the Holt Center. And guess what? It was sold out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
yeah.
The pro-Palestinian people showed up to picket him.
Of course, and because
he's Jewish.
Right.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Isn't that called?
Guy.
Isn't that a form of racism?
Well, you think about it. I mean, what's so interesting about? I mean, for the most part, I mean, he's a liberal Jew.
Right.
But because he's Jewish, they showed up, and this is racism. This is CRT.
Absolutely. And you have so poignantly pointed out, why is it that it's condemned everywhere else except against Jewish people?
It's biblical. It's the only way. The only answer is it's biblical.
Yeah, it's weird.
Anyway, I thought that was disappointing, but poor guy. He stands for Israel, obviously. I don't think he understood the seriousness of the problem until he's been now boycotted and protested against.
Yeah, and confronted. Right, exactly. Yep.
All right, let's take a look at Wall Street for this Monday morning. And thank you, Preston. He has Smart Lawn. And if you're tired of mowing, fertilizing, edging, call him. The Dow's off 69.5 points. The Nasdaq is down 19 in the third. And the S&P is down 1.15 points. So very little activity this morning. Probably wait and see because of the big meeting. Gold's back up to $33.83. Silver's hanging in there at $38. And crude oil did come down a little bit, $64.69 a barrel. That's good news. I think all this is anticipation of today's meeting.
Yeah, it could be. Well, Gatestone Institute's Gordon Change comments on this clip of Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent talking about selling NVIDIA chips to China.
We're allowing the sale of the NVIDIA H20s. I'm not sure what the comparable chip is for AMD, and that's about 5 levels down the NVIDIA tech stack. And now the Chinese don't want their companies to buy them, because our rationale for allowing this, other than taking in revenue for Treasury for this strategic industry, was to make U.S. chip makers the global standard. Now the Chinese are looking at this for a minute and saying, whoa, we don't want NVIDIA to become the Chinese standard. But we're also seeing today that the Chinese AI company DeepSeek is having trouble going to the next level using Huawei chips. So they've kind of backed themselves into a corner. They don't want to have a U.S. standard, but their domestic supplier seems to be subpar.
Yeah, I don't think that the U.S. government should be taking a portion of the revenue from this. We have taxes, and that's net income. I'm worried about the potential for abuse, but also I don't think that we should be selling the H20 and the MI308 to China. And this actually gives the federal government an incentive to approve those sales. Also, we're now hearing the Trump administration talk about selling a more advanced chip, more advanced than the H20 to China, based on their Blackwell design. So this is not going in the right direction. Treasury Secretary Bessent was absolutely right. The Chinese may say they don't want Chinese companies to buy the H20, but it really wants them to, because as we saw yesterday from the DeepSeek, they can't use Huawei's Ascend chip to do what they need to do to get their model out into the public.
So if we manufacture the chip and we become superior in the world and China has to have it, you just kind of brought them to their knees.
It seems to be.
But if they decide not to take it and they want to manufacture them, then you have two systems out there. You have two standard systems out there. And that becomes a marketing challenge for both. Who's going to be dominant with the marketplace?
Well, and we know that the Chinese kind of have a history of reverse engineering. They'll take that thing apart and figure out how to make it themselves.
But what he's saying there is, since the United States market is booming and becoming bigger and bigger and more attractive, where does China go to sell their goods? Because we have this thing called tariffs. I don't know. That's so far past my pay scale, as President Obama would say.
He's
That's above my pay scale.
He's been saying a few things lately, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of
back in the news a little bit.
It's really interesting. You know who else is in the news?
Who?
Comey.
Yeah, I saw something about him. What's going on with Comey?
I guess he likes Taylor Swift's music.
Something about Taylor Swift infatuation. I saw a headline. I thought, I need to find
what he
some.
said?
What did he say?
I listen to Taylor Swift's music because it helps me combat Trump.
Oh, well.
Now, how do you connect those two dots?
He needs help. If he's listening to Taylor Swift to help combat Trump, he needs help. Oh, my goodness.
Why is he even wanting to be in the news?
Yeah. Yes.
I think there's something about that. I need to talk to...
oh, man.
Maybe I'll talk to Dr. Tim Murphy. He's a psychologist.
Okay.
What is it about people that who've been in the media or been on movies or been personalities,
right?
That they can't take not being there.
Right, they can't stay away. Yeah.
They can't stay away.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, so.
I don't know.
Well, people ask that of you and me.
I'm sure they do.
But what they don't realize is we really like it at home. We'll be right back.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegateRV.com.
Hey, this is Ed, co-owner of Visiting Angels. To continue to serve our seniors, we need more caregivers with a heart to serve. Our mission statement is honoring the art of giving, which means we honor you, the caregiver. We know it's our people that make Visiting Angels the best in-home care provider and a great place to work. Come be our next amazing caregiver. Give us a call or apply online. At Visiting Angels, we're committed to you because we honor the art of giving.
From top home sellers in the Valley with John L. Scott.
To making RV consignment effortless.
American RV, where Team Toner gets your RV sold fast.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
When I was a teenager, I remember I was taken to Johns Hopkins Hospital for surgery. I was frightened at the idea of being paralyzed for the rest of my life. I was only a kid. Well, they pushed my gurney into the old hospital lobby and parked me at the foot of this big statue. I looked up breathless. It was a massive marble figure of Christ with outstretched arms. At its base were the words of Jesus from Matthew 11. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. That day I was placed directly at the feet of Jesus, and I will never forget the warm embrace of his outstretched arms. I would replay that moment so many times, it became part of my healing. Friend, today, picture yourself at the feet of Christ, because he can lift your burden.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, let's see. You have the president meeting with President Zelensky and 4 or 5 other European leaders.
Yeah.
He just got through meeting with Putin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And over here, you got a war going on with Israel and Hamas and negotiating for the hostages.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you like to be in the news business today?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's why we have CBN News Watch.
This is CBN News Watch.
Thank you so much for joining us for CBN News Watch on this Monday, August 18th. I'm Ephraim Graham. I'm going to begin this half hour in the Middle East, where Israelis held a nationwide protest this weekend demanding an end to the war in Gaza. Some families of the hostages believe these demonstrations send the wrong message to Hamas. CBN's Chris Mitchell has more now on our top story from Jerusalem.
At a mass rally in Tel Aviv Sunday night, some hostage families pleaded with President Trump to help end the war and free the hostages.
We now rise to save the hostages, the soldiers. We demand a comprehensive and applicable deal and the end of the war. We demand what we deserve, our children. And we will continue to demand until we get all of them back.
Hamas released footage of Zangauker's son, Matan, who pleaded for his life. Some believe Hamas timed the release of Matan's video to stir the emotions of the nation. During the day, organizers launched a nationwide strike to shut the country down. Police arrested dozens of protesters after they blocked main highways. But family members of those killed on October 7th told Israeli radio the protests play into the hands of Hamas. One family member said, "When we go out into the streets like this, Hamas sees us falling apart from within. For a comprehensive deal, Hamas needs to be on its knees." Another said the protests sow division. The more we escalate the struggle in this way, the more we will push the country into total chaos. And in my view, we will achieve nothing except terrible division among us. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said ending the war would serve Hamas.
Today, those who call for an end to the war without defeating Hamas are not only hardening Hamas's position and delaying the release of our hostages, they are also ensuring that the horrors of October 7 will be repeated over and over again, and that our sons and daughters will have to fight over and over again in an endless war. Therefore, both to advance the release of our hostages and to ensure that Gaza no longer poses a threat to Israel, we must complete the task and defeat Hamas.
IDF Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir announced the IDF is preparing the next phase of the war. First, to move the people of Gaza City south to safety, and then encircle the city to defeat Hamas. 100,000 reservists have been called up for the offensive.
And our Chris Mitchell joins us now to continue our coverage. So, Chris, some of the hostage families are demanding the end of the war, as you cited in your report. What are some of the other voices of concerns, the fate of the hostages?
Well, they're not as well heard, I think, as some of the others that you heard yesterday in Tel Aviv or on many of the main highways here in Israel. One of those voices is called the Tikva Forum, and you heard sort of the kind of sense they had in our report there. Tikva is a word for hope, and what they want to do is that Israel will finish the war, not end the war. They want to defeat Hamas. They believe this is the best way to be actually free the hostages, and they believe that any partial deal would be a surrender to Hamas, and that the military pressure will yield results. These Tikva Forum and others in our report, they haven't got as much attention as the other hostage groups as the one yesterday, but they represent, I think, a sizable majority or a sizable amount of Israeli opinion right now. And actually, one of the polls came out yesterday that some of the groups on what they're doing, the civil disobedience, shutting down highways, a lot of Israelis don't appreciate.
A UN official is getting a lot of attention for comments about Hamas recently. What did she say, and why are some demanding the United Nations fire her?
Well, her name is Francesca Albanese. She's an official representative of the UN. She said people really don't have any idea of who Hamas is, that it's a political force that won elections in 2005, and since then they've been putting together schools, public facilities, and hospitals, and that they are the de facto authority inside Gaza. And she said, when you think of Hamas, don't necessarily think about cutthroat people. On social media, you have people having her speech on one side and then what Hamas did on October 7th on the other. And you see that Hamas has already, since 2005, been building tunnels. In October 7th, they kidnapped and they murdered about 1,200 people. They also have, for the past generation, been training a generation of young Gazans to kidnap and murder civilians, to kill Israelis and kidnap. So many want to see that she be fired as soon as possible and wonder if the UN doesn't, if they actually agree with what she thinks about Hamas.
Yeah. Gosh, all fronts, wars and rumors of wars.
Yes, yeah.
That'll calm you down a little bit. All right, let's check out the weather with a guy that's a rumor.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. Increasing high pressure will keep things dry and warm, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, decreasing clouds in upper 70s for Vancouver and Portland and low 80s in Wilsonville, mostly sunny near 79 in McMinnville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with decreasing clouds, becoming mostly sunny with daytime high temperatures in the low 80s for Salem and Albany and upper 70s in Corvallis and Eugene with a light west wind. In central Oregon, sunny with a high in the mid-80s around Prineville, mostly sunny in Bend and Sun River with daytime highs in the low 80s. Over in Boise, Idaho, sunny and hot with a high temperature near 95. Patchy fog in spots along the Oregon coast this morning, then clearing to sunny in low 70s in Coos Bay, mid to upper 60s for Port Orford, near 56 in Brookings, and low 60s in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, sunny skies for the Rogue Valley with daytime high temperatures in the mid-80s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. In the Klamath Basin, sunny with highs in the low to mid-80s. Sunny skies continue as we move into Northern California with daytime highs near 87 for Wairika and Redding and near 86 in Chico and Sacramento with a light and variable wind this afternoon. In the Bay Area, patchy fog, then sunny and near 77 in Santa Rosa, becoming sunny in mid-70s in Napa, mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the upper 60s, and today in San Jose, becoming sunny and near 77. A snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
And a beautiful shot of our valley this morning as the clouds continue to thin out. And we'll see sunshine and warming temperatures. So hang in there.
Well, we certainly watched the events of the day, and the world watched as communist hardliners launched a coup against the Soviet president on this day in history.
On August 18, 1991, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev was placed under house arrest by members of his own government, military, and KGB. Gorbachev had pushed reforms known as perestroika, restructuring the economy, and glasnost, greater openness, improving relations with the West. But hardline communists feared he was dismantling the Soviet Union, while reformers like Boris Yeltsin thought he wasn't moving fast enough. That summer, hardliners struck. While Gorbachev vacationed in Crimea, they cut off his communications and declared him ill, imposing a state of emergency. But in Moscow, Yeltsin rallied the resistance, famously climbing atop a tank outside Parliament to urge soldiers not to fire on their own people. Crowds flooded the streets, blocking the coup's advance. In just 3 days, the uprising collapsed. Gorbachev returned to power, but the damage was done. Within months, the Communist Party was dissolved, the Soviet republics declared independence, and by year's end, the USSR itself was gone.
Well, and Gorby ends up at the Presidio in San Francisco.
How did that happen?
And I think he went back to Russia a year before he died, or maybe months before he died.
Yeah.
And was given basically a silent funeral.
You know why? They kind of credited him with the fall of the Soviet Union. Mm-hmm. And in spite of hardships and lack of supplies and basic things that we take for granted here, the power aspect and their position in the world seemed to be really important to the populace there, and they lamented the loss of it.
Well, one of the things that changed his mind is when he came to the United States and went to a supermarket.
That'll do it.
And when he came to the United States, they went to several supermarkets and shopping malls. Mm-hmm. And that was the beginning of him beginning to think about maybe he ought to consider better relations with the West, especially with Reagan.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Kind of interesting, to say the least. All right. Well, listen, here's one. Why does God allow suffering? It's one of the big questions that constantly comes up in the term called apologetics when you're defending the faith.
Yeah.
And Sam Storms from Crossway explains.
The question is, why does God even allow suffering? And what hope do we as Christians have in a world that is filled with so much tragedy and unspeakable suffering? I think the best answer to any question that begins, why did God, is for His glory. Now, that's not meant to minimize the pain and the anguish and oftentimes even the despair that suffering can bring to bear on our hearts. It is simply a way of saying that there is an ultimate reason, even if we can't fully grasp it, why God would allow suffering in this world. I think probably the best way to answer that is this. I believe God allows suffering precisely so that His mercy, His kindness and His grace and His long-suffering in receiving suffering saints and bringing comfort to their hearts in the midst of it can be seen. So even suffering exists in some mysterious way to point to the glory of God, His sovereignty, the majesty in which He governs the universe, so that in the final day, we will see how every pain we have endured, every heartache that we have been forced to suffer, has been used of God to bring attention to His glory and grace, and also as a way of refining our character and bringing us more into conformity with who Jesus is. And then, of course, there's the question, what hope do we have in a world filled with so much heartache and suffering? Well, that brings me back to Romans 8:18 through 25, where Paul says that the whole of creation has been subjected to futility in hope of the ultimate and final redemption of our bodies. So we have this living hope. Peter says it in 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 3, a hope that is alive and powerful. And he goes on to say that is reserved in heaven for us, an imperishable, unfading hope that all the wrongs of this world will be righted, that Jesus the judge will bring to bear righteous punishment on those who have inflicted vengeance and sin upon God's people. And ultimately, we will find the new heavens and the new earth where our hope is fulfilled and all the wrongs will have been righted and all the questions will have been answered, and we will rejoice in God's presence for eternity.
Beautiful. Not easy.
No,
not easy to process and to comprehend, but I think he makes good sense there.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick break with some soft ice cream with a lot of swirls on it.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Leiser with Leiser Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
Get ready, Southern Oregon. The ROC Recovery Center, together with NIC Industries, Southern Oregon Signs, Happy Camper, Nick Alexander Films, My Grace Point, and theDove is proud to present the 6th Annual Strong and Courageous Recovery Festival. Join us Saturday, September 6th at Harry and David Ballpark for a powerful day of hope, healing, and community. The action starts at 8 a.m. with an 8-team softball tournament featuring local businesses and recovery agencies. And don't miss the return of the fan favorite Guns N' Hoses game, as Medford and Central Point Police face off with local firefighters in the ultimate battle for the badges. Bring the whole family. Starting at 10 a.m., the Kids Carnival Zone opens with pony rides, a petting zoo, face painting, carnival booths, and of course, great food. All proceeds support recovery services at the Rock Recovery Center. For more information, call 541-200-3000 or visit rockrecoverycenter.org.
Experience evangelism like never before. Way of the Master, an award-winning reality TV show tackling hard questions in bold street witnessing that will leave you inspired. Watch Thursdays and Fridays on theDove TV.
All right, welcome back. About 10 minutes before the hour, recently I had Josh Phillips on. He's quite the expert on what's happening in China and the CP, and he describes when accidentally discovered one of the largest Chinese spies network. Now, he's an investigative reporter, and he's the guy that kind of stumbled across one of the largest Chinese spy networks in the United States, and here's what he had to say.
In my own work as an investigative reporter, I've been with Epoch Times since 2006, but I've been an investigative journalist since 2008. And a lot of my work began because I accidentally uncovered one of the largest Chinese spy networks in the United States. that being the United Front Work Department. They had agents even openly out in New York City. I got access to even some of their groups. I mean, they pushed me out, of course, but it was shocking. You have organizations with literally thousands of members, and what they do is they try to invite politicians on trips to China. They'll do trips for journalists. They'll have influence campaigns for business leaders. And I think we've all seen some of the surface elements of this. How many politicians have we seen where, they weren't working for China, but it turned out they had an aide or an advisor who was a Chinese spy? In New York City, the mayor, had this problem for a while. The governor had this problem for a while. One of the main advisors. You had individuals, of course, close to several major politicians who were trying to cancel things like, okay, don't talk about Taiwan. Don't talk about human rights in China. Don't talk about this or that. We can look at Hollywood, and we can all see it on the surface. They have to co-produce films with China, the Chinese Communist Party. They cannot show things like the U.S. military in a positive light. They can't show the Chinese military in a negative light. They have all kinds of requirements for it. I mean, maybe Hollywood wasn't too patriotic even without CCP influence, but we can definitely see it. We can see it in the NBA, where if a basketball player like Enes Kanter Freedom writes a message against current-day slavery in China on his shoe, he gets canceled, while you have people kneeling on the court protesting the United States for, slavery 150 years ago. And so how does that even work? You can't talk about current slavery, but you're allowed to criticize the United States for historical slavery. All of this, of course, ties into the Chinese Communist Party's strings it's pulling within our systems.
That is scary stuff.
Well, his report on what he discovered is fascinating, and hence came the fuller understanding of what they call the gray zone and how they've infiltrated. Why we are allowing the Chinese to buy agriculture is a mystery to me.
That's crazy, yeah.
Ag land is just crazy.
Yeah.
They're all over Washington, D.C., and I guess, I don't know, what's it take for us to understand? Ask yourself, how long would an American spy last in China?
Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah, I can't even imagine.
They wouldn't.
Yeah, right.
They wouldn't. So,
Anyway,
Frank Gaffney will be with me in a few moments. This will be perfect timing to have him because he has great insights. We'll talk to him. He was part of the Reagan administration years ago. But we'll talk about the Zelensky meeting with President Trump coming up. And then Dr. Tim Murphy will be back with me. I look forward to talking to him about issues.
Yeah. Well, we have all heard the phrase, don't poke the bear. And here is a case in point.
In Florida, a man accused of stealing Smokey Bear signs from state forests and selling them online for $1,900 each got a surprise he didn't see coming. Smokey Bear himself showed up for the takedown. According to Florida Agriculture Commissioner Wilton Simpson, the suspect allegedly traveled from Pensacola to Orlando, swiping the iconic signs from protected forest areas and listing them on Facebook Marketplace. Naturally, law enforcement wasn't amused, but they were definitely creative. When officers from the Florida Agricultural Law Enforcement Team caught up with the man, they didn't just slap on the cuffs, they brought Smokey Bear along for the arrest. In a Facebook post, Simpson wrote, "What happens when dumb criminals poke the bear?" He added, "Big thank you to Smokey Bear for personally assisting in the arrest."
And only you can prevent wildfires.
Gosh, how dumb can you get?
I know. And then posting it on Facebook Marketplace of all things? My goodness.
Gosh.
Yeah. Hey, have you bought anything on Facebook Marketplace?
Do you go there and look?
You know what I'm looking for right now on Facebook Marketplace? A free dog.
Oh, you want another dog?
Yeah, we're getting to the point where we're going to have we're getting to the end of a life of two of our dogs.
I thought you were looking at a husky puppy or something.
Well, we are, but that one's not coming together for us. So yeah, we're looking.
You really want a puppy?
No, yeah, and that's the other thing. I don't really want a puppy, and we do need some guidance from the older dogs as the younger dog grows. But there's kind of a middle point, middle puppy age, where they're almost an adult, but they're not really chewing on all my earphones and socks and shoes and stuff like that.
Why don't you get an EV dog?
An EV dog?
Well, they're out there. You can buy them.
What is it?
Well, it's a dog. It's electronic. And it barks. It walks around.
And it doesn't
program it to do it. You don't have to feed it.
And you don't have to clean up after it.
No, you just plug it in once in a while.
EV dog.
You know?
Does it lose its mind when people come driving up my driveway? Because that's one of the things we look for in a good guard dog.
Where was it? Oh, I was at the NAB and I'm walking around, and this all of a sudden, the guy was really good at it. All of a sudden, this mechanical dog's following me. You know, it's about this big.
Okay.
And has these funny little legs on it. Oh. And I turned around. What's it do? It got down like this.
Okay.
And I sat back. It stepped up, and then it sat back on its two legs like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I thought, well, that's kind of like the perfect dog. Does it bark? So anyway,
well, you know what? What'll happen when they combine an EV dog with AI?
Oh my stars!
Huh?
You'll be running out of your house. You and Pam will be sleeping out in the garage, and your dogs will be inside in the bed.
That could be it.
All right, take Philippians 4:6 with you today. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Take that with you today. It's a great scripture. Stick around. We got some good conversation. Enjoy the cool temperature because warm is returning.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegateRV.com. Clean water is essential to your good health. Ultra Pure Purified Water has been delivering purified, healthy drinking water to the Rogue Valley since 1995. Locally owned and family run, Ultra Pure Purified Water uses a multi-stage process ensuring your delivery of water is 99.8% pure, so your family stays hydrated and healthy. Online at ultrapurewaterinc.com or call 541-734-0828. 541-734-0828.
How can Christian parents train their kids to know and follow God's design for sexuality in a culture that increasingly rejects it?
Join us as we uncover the damaging misinformation being fed to your children on sexuality and gender identity, and learn effective strategies for grounding them in biblical truth with confidence and grace.
Join me for the John Ankerberg Show weekdays at 4 o'clock right here on the Dove TV. It'll be encouraging and informative.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Ecclesiastes 3:11 says this: God has planted eternity in the human heart. But even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. Now, I want you to notice that verse. Notice it says, God has planted eternity in the human heart. What does that mean? It means that no matter where you are in the world, no matter what religion somebody has, human beings have a God-given, built-in instinct to realize there's got to be more to life than just here and now. Eternity was put in our hearts. We got to think there's got to be more to this. There's got to be more to life after death. Why does every religion believe there's life after death? Because God wired us that way. You were made for more than just the here and now.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Hunters, where the true target is the truth of the gospel. Watch Twin Factor, weekends on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative.
to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. And of course, coming out of the weekend, Friday was the big summit in Anchorage, Alaska, there at the air base where President Putin and President Trump got together for several hours. And then today is another big meeting at the White House with President Trump, President Zelensky, and several other European country leaders. So a lot going on as it relates to the war in Ukraine. I am so honored and perfect timing when we have time to sit down with our good friend Frank Gaffney. Frank is the president of the Institute for American Future. He's also acted as President Reagan's Assistant Secretary of Defense for International Security Policy. He served as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Nuclear Forces and Arms Control Policy. He's the host of Securing America with Frank Gaffney and the co-author of a fascinating book called The Indictment, prosecuting the Chinese Communist Party and friends for crimes against America, China, and the world. There's a picture of his landing page. SecuringAmerica.tv is the landing page there of everything that you can find that he's involved in. Brother Frank, good to see you, friend. How are you, bud?
I am the better for having a chance to visit with you, Perry. Always. Thank you.
You're too kind. You're too kind. All right, Frank, what's your take on what happened Friday in Alaska?
Well, I don't know what happened in Alaska, and I don't think any of us do exactly. We've been told on the one hand that just by showing up, Vladimir Putin secured a decisive win. We've been told that the President of the United States failed. We've been told that the President of the United States actually made a lot of progress, including by, according to Steve Witkoff, his special envoy for, it seems, every conflict in the world, that he actually made most progress by agreeing to some security guarantees on behalf of the United States for Ukraine in the event that it made certain concessions to the Russians. How much of any of that is true very much remains to be seen, Perry. And I guess we might know a little bit more with the conclusion of this afternoon's conversations at the White House with Zelensky and his merry band of European leaders. But I have the feeling that as long as we keep ignoring one very important feature of what's going on here, not much is going to come of this. And that would be the role that the Chinese Communist Party is playing in, well, having, first of all, brought us this war in Ukraine by, I think, at the minimum, greenlighting it, if not ordering the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, and certainly enabling what's happened ever since, enabling it by sending billions of dollars, albeit for cut rate oil sales, and providing weapons and maybe even North Korean troops, for that matter, enabling, I would guess as well, Iranian drones to get to the Russians. All of this is to say, there's a man who was missing at the Anchorage summit, and it wasn't just Vladimir Zelensky. It was Xi Jinping. And as long as he's absent and held unaccountable for what he's doing in all of this, I'm not sure there's likely to be any kind of peace in Ukraine, at least.
Okay, let's unpack this a little bit. Is there anything to be said that President Putin requested the summit and was willing to come to America to have it? Does that say anything?
Well, it says that he very much wanted to have the legitimization that would come from being back on the dais with the President of the United States, treated as an equal, let alone heartily welcomed. This is a guy, after all, who has been charged with war crimes. He's been treated as an international pariah for the past 3 years or so. And I think it's not hard to figure out why he would want to, come to Alaska, come to the United States. He has his eye on Alaska, by the way. Maybe he was interested in a real estate tour as much as anything. But look, I in all seriousness, I think this was something that was a relatively low-risk deal for him. He didn't have to do anything, and by some accounts, he didn't do much other than show up.
Okay. After the summit, probably like you read all the various news outlets to see what everybody's saying. I find it very interesting that nobody is giving President Trump credit for trying something. It's all that he's doing it the wrong way. What's your take?
Well, I do give President Trump credit for having a very determined conviction that he needs to end this war in Ukraine. It is something that's taking place now on his watch. The carnage has been described, I think, accurately as roughly akin to what went on in World War I, which is just mind-boggling. It is involving the mass destruction of Ukraine. Some relatively minor retaliation is taking place in Russia as well. Civilian lives are being lost in large numbers, as well as combatants. So for all those reasons, I think the president does deserve credit.
Okay.
My complaint is not so much that he's not making the effort as he's not holding accountable one of the most important parties.
Okay. Because I think you're the only one saying that, and rightfully so. I don't think anybody has even thought that, China should be at the table. The other thing that didn't happen here is that President Trump did not walk out like President Reagan did. I mean, this meeting could have gone south, but it didn't. Does that say anything?
Well, I was in Reykjavik at the time the President of the United States, who I had the privilege of serving, walked out, and I think that was an epic moment in ultimately fulfilling what he had set out to do at the beginning of his administration, his first term, which was to bring down the Soviet Union. I think it was the kind of thing that took courage. He similarly was widely reviled for not having taken a deal that then Gorbachev, the leader of the Soviet Union at the time, had put on the table, tempting him with getting rid of all nuclear weapons. The president saw fit to say, no, we're not going to do that. Even though I think he very much would have liked to get rid of all nuclear weapons, the price was too high. Mm-hmm. He was talking about giving up his missile defense. So in terms of a model here, Perry, I'm not calling for the Chinese to be at the table. I'm calling for them to be held accountable. I'm calling for people to recognize that they're, as long as they see the interests of the Chinese Communist Party being continuing this war, we're going to have more war. My view of this is that the President of the United States should be trying to do what Reagan did, and is to be ending these tyrannies, not perpetuating them, not accommodating them.
So wouldn't part of the strategy be, Frank, for President Trump to attempt to wean Putin off of China and reinstitute Western ideas back into their country?
Well, I think that's what's animating what he's doing now. I think he's being told that if you try to romance Putin, you will wean him, as you say, from the Chinese. I don't think that's in the cards. I think that, as a friend of mine, Trevor Loudon, has said on my program today, it's like saying to Mussolini, come alongside us, not Hitler. Putin is these days the very junior partner in a no-limits partnership. He is being kept afloat by the Chinese. He owes his, I think, continued hold on power to them. He's not going to be weaned off of them. But to the contrary, I think what's going on here is a kind of good cop, bad cop routine on the United States designed to keep the pressure off China and enable some sort of inducements to be made that help legitimize and prop up this Russian dictator. I think that's a mistake, Perry.
No, I hear you loud and clear. So the other thing I would ask is China's support of Russia during this conflict brought clarity to Russia's unsophisticated military. When we saw the attack from Russia, ground troops into Ukraine, I think we were all shocked of how unsophisticated it is, which has to tell you that Russia is more roar than lion, that they are really don't have it together. I mean, their equipment was antiquated. Their manpower, they're running out of it like crazy. And where you could have Ukraine take a bunch of drones in, take out a bunch of aircraft at an air base and sink some ships, tells you that maybe they're not militarily put together as much as they like people believe that they are.
Yeah. Well, this is such an important point, really. And in a way, what happened on Friday has further contributed to it. We're induced to believe that Russia is a superpower. It is a peer of the United States. In fact, the only possible basis on which it would consider it anything remotely a peer, and some would argue actually superior to us, is in nuclear weapons.
Okay.
And Putin has made an enormous investment in nuclear weapons, not so much as conventional forces, though there's been a lot of that taking place in the course of this war. But you're right. It did not acquit itself well, and that's partly because I think that to the extent that it reckoned on anything other than a very short war, it was just by bringing its immense, armored power to bear, it would prevail. That didn't reckon on drones. But I have to tell you, Perry, I'm a little concerned about how well our military will fare against drone forces in the future as well. It's not necessarily an indictment just of the Russians. We've seen a real transformation of the art of war as a result of this particular conflict and the use of native drones.
Okay. Before I move over to Article 5 at NATO, I want to ask you a question. Is it possible one of the reasons that President Zelensky is bringing counterparts from Europe, leaders such as Merz, Macron, Starmer, and others, is a coalition of European leaders saying to President Trump, stop Russia, stop Putin? Is that it?
I think he wants to make sure that he's not going to be given the back of the hand, as I think he felt he did during his first time in the Trump presidency, 2.0. He wants company. He wants people that are making the case for him, with him, who may have more suasion with the president. And not least, I think he wants them to talk up this idea. I know you want to get to it in a minute, but this idea that we all need to provide security guarantees. If especially the Ukrainians are going to be obliged to make concessions territorially, they're going to need some kind of protection against the Russians reverting to form. And that is especially true as long as Putin is in charge. But I think the overall purpose of having that entourage with him is to just try to make sure that there isn't another sort of upbraiding or dressing down, as the case may be, by the president if Zelensky declines to go along with what the Russians' current demands are.
So it's possible that these other European leaders see the weakness of Zelensky as much as they see anything else. In other words, they're willing to stand behind Article 5 to protect, but if Zelensky isn't willing to deal, where does that leave them?
I think there's no doubt that they see Ukraine as in a weak position right now. And what they're prayerfully hoping, I know, is that the United States will make real security guarantees, because none of the rest of them, even put together, can do much to, I believe, defeat a Russian, revanchist threat. if that were to eventuate from all of this. The United States, frankly, isn't in much of a position to do that either, but it makes it a lot more real, certainly, if we're in the mix than if it's them talking about it in their own right.
All right, got a bunch more questions. Let me take a quick break. What an honor, perfect time, to have Frank Gaffney back with us. Check out his website, securingamerica.tv. There's a picture of the landing page. You may want to check out the book, The Indictment, Prosecuting Chinese Communist Party and Friends of China against America, against America, China, and the world. Check that out. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
At Kelly's Automotive Service,
being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us
is at the core of our business.
We believe what we do matters.
Every interaction, every transaction is another opportunity
to bring Christ's values into the marketplace.
If you're a technician who wants to be part of something bigger,
or just looking for a new shop to bring your vehicle,
we would love to meet you.
We're Kelly's Automotive Service,
where we service your vehicle,
but take care of you.
Perry Atkinson.
I learned this from the late Rush Limbaugh. I interviewed Rush Limbaugh a couple of weeks before we moved to Southern Oregon in 1983. And I asked Rush Limbaugh the question, I said, what is the key to your program? And he said two things. He said, one is be comfortable in making fun of yourself and having a good time. And the other one is, when you have a guest on, remember they're the star, you're not. It always stuck with me. Welcome back. Such an honor and perfect timing to have back with us today Frank Gaffney. He's the president of the Institute for American Future. You can check out his program, Securing America with Frank Gaffney, and check out the book, The Indictment. He has a website, securingamerica.tv is his website. There's a picture of the landing page. Again, Frank, thanks for your time. So much here in so little time. Zelensky has said on his way to Washington, D.C., sorry, giving up land is not an issue. It's not going to happen. I mean, that's his rhetoric at the moment. Russia wants to at least keep the land that they've now secured in this war. If Russia is able to get that land, is that rewarding them for their efforts?
Well, I don't know how else to characterize it. I think they seized Crimea during the Obama years, and I think that was regarded by the Putin regime as a reward, proof that their audacity would pay off. If they managed to get the spoils of this war in terms of additional territory, I think they would consider it a reward, although it's been bought at a very, very high price, as you said, Perry. This is all the more reason why I think they're going to be very insistent on retaining what they've got, if not every little bit of land, certainly the bulk of what they've seized.
Okay. The broker here has somebody called it sticks and carrots. And the carrots are, well, we can reestablish relationships with everybody, and the sticks could be sanctions and tariffs. I mean, there's one thing that President Trump has that all sides have to listen to: sanctions and tariffs. How powerful are they?
I think they've proven to be less than decisive in the way that they've been applied to this point. But let me just give you, coming back to my main argument, if you really want to wrap this thing up on terms that are different than what Putin is currently insisting upon, I think you have to persuade his masters in Beijing that the costs to them are unacceptably high. The president has imposed secondary sanctions on a relatively friendly nation, India, which has been buying oil from the Russians and thereby propping up the regime. But so have the Chinese. And he has not imposed secondary sanctions on the Chinese. Now, my friend Gordon Chang, in a very interesting interview with another friend, Jan Jekulek of Epoch Times, said the other day, he thinks that the president is refraining from imposing such sanctions on the Chinese for this or any other reason for that matter, because he doesn't want to encourage instability in China. Well, that becomes a pretext for a lot more misbehavior by the Chinese, and I think that will, in fact, make it much less likely that you'll see any kind of willingness for concessions on Putin's part as a result.
Okay, so you got China propping up Russia to keep the pressure on Ukraine. We're only talking to Russia and Ukraine, and now Europe leaders are involved. This thing gets messier by the moment. What's Article 5?
Article 5 is a provision of the NATO treaty that establishes exclusively for member nations of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization that if there's an attack on one, it will be treated as an attack on all, and that obliges all of the member nations, therefore, to come to the assistance of whomever is being attacked. That obviously doesn't apply to non-member states, including Ukraine. But what this character, Steve Witkoff, announced in an interview on Sunday, I think with CNN, if I'm not mistaken, was that actually Donald Trump is now open to some kind of similar arrangement to be provided in the form of security guarantees for Ukraine, in concert with some number of these European nations.
So they get the protection of NATO without being a member?
Well, that sounds like what's being bruited here. I personally find it hard to believe that Putin has agreed to that. But again, and I have to say about Steve Witkoff, he's being touted as a great negotiator. Apparently, he misunderstood, and maybe because he was relying on a Russian translator rather than an American translator, when he was meeting with Putin recently. Putin apparently said, Ukraine needs to withdraw forces from such and such territory, and he said, the Russians would withdraw from that territory, which is kind of the difference Mark Twain used to say between lightning and lightning bugs. It may have been, a basis upon which this meeting took place with President Trump that was under false pretenses.
Does Ukraine becoming a member of EU mean anything in the mix to this?
Well, I think that's the consolation prize that a lot of people think might suffice if they're not going to get into NATO. And if they don't get these security guarantees, that if they are at least part of the European Union, meaning that there's a lot more engagement with Europe, that somehow that might give Putin pause in terms of further predations. I'm not sure that's the case. Again, and I hate to belabor this point, Perry, but I think you can't understand what's going on here if you don't recognize that it's in China's interest to have the war continue, to have more diversions, to have more distractions, to have more depletion of our resources. So, if Putin is continuing to act aggressively, and I think he would probably, even if the Ukrainians were part of the European Union, that's going to suit the Chinese. It may not suit us. It's certainly not going to suit the Ukrainians.
Why isn't Zelensky? Maybe it's the wrong question. I don't know how else to ask it. Why isn't he seemingly more willing to end this war quickly? I mean, I understand today he doesn't want to negotiate unless there's a ceasefire. I think that's legitimate. I mean, you stop shooting at us, let's sit down and talk. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. But he's had a lot of opportunities here, and he's shied away from them. What's going on? Do you know?
Well, I'm not an unalloyed admirer of Zelensky, so let me just say at the outset that some of what he has done, I think, has ulterior motives that may not be exactly aligned with the best interests of Ukraine. But I think he's trying very hard to stay, aligned with where his people have been, at least until recently. There's some evidence that they're shifting on this point. But they don't want to give up territory. They believe that that's constitutionally enshrined and that they must not do that. They also don't want to be situated in a place where Putin, at will, can simply resume the war. And he's trying to wend his way through that particular difficult set of
you think
minefields. I think that his giving him the maximum benefit of the doubt, I think that he's simply trying to ensure that, having suffered as they have horribly, that it's not all been for naught.
No, I think we can't forget the fact that Ukraine didn't invade itself. Okay.
Correct.
And the other part to this is, do you think it's really legitimate that he can think that they could take back the real estate that Russia has now gained from this exchange?
Look, I have to believe that he's enough of a realist to know that, for example, Crimea is not coming back.
Right.
The question of the Donbass and some of these other provinces that have been seized, I have the feeling that he's of a mind that he has to continue to resist their surrender too, but that he's probably got, in mind as an end game in which the other aspects of this arrangement are satisfactory. Some territorial concessions, at least for a temporary period, which of course will be open-ended.
I can't help but think, Putin has served quite a few administrations in America. And he
served or worked with
or
against.
That's my point. He could just make a deal here and wait for another administration change.
That's, I think, most of the people who will be in that room today in the White House believe is exactly the plan. And their conviction is, and I must say I don't disagree with them, that what's to keep Putin from stopping with just gobbling up the rest of Ukraine? He's making noises. He's positioning troops. He's engaged in overflights, not a lot, but some. They're attributed to rogue drones and things going off course and so on. But in the Baltic states and some of the other littoral states of Eastern Europe, this is the kind of thing that, unfortunately, the Europeans have had a lot of hard experience with.
Yeah.
But they've also become accustomed to the United States contending with, and they've not taken responsibility for protecting themselves against it. It's been said that, there's 20 Russian divisions in Ukraine at the moment. There's another 20 elsewhere in Russia that could be brought to bear. The Europeans might not be able to put 3 divisions together, all of them put together. They'd begin relying upon us and our contributions to real forces. But that's not really a very practical approach here. The far better way to deal with this is to prevent the Russians from perceiving that they've been rewarded again for their aggressive behavior.
Yeah. Frank, you're fascinating. Thank you, friend. You always give us time when we call. God bless you. Appreciate you more than you know. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, check out his website, securingamerica.substack.com. Check out his program as well, and a copy of the book called The Indictment. Look forward to many visits. So complicated, only God knows. Thank God he's in control.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Perry. Great to be with you.
Black Flag Armory offers top brand affordable rifles, shotguns, handguns, and gear. We also offer an array of classes emphasizing safety, self-defense, and accuracy. We strive to provide the absolute best possible experience when buying a firearm. Family friendly for every skill level. Black Flag Armory in Medford and Grants Pass. Online at blackflagarms.com or 541-499-0779. 541-499-0779.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian owned and operated, pet friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Worried that inflation might burst your retirement bubble? I'm Michelle Slate. Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance. Helping you navigate the stormy seas of retirement, Lighthouse stands tall as a beacon of hope, offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today, 541-494-1034.
Okay, welcome back. And today, perfect timing for us to have back with us Dr. Tim Murphy. He's a licensed psychologist and a clinical director of the Fortis Future, a center focusing on the care of veterans, military, and first responders with PTSD. He also has been a congressman. He was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives from Pennsylvania's 18th Congressional District 8 times. So he's pretty familiar with with what's going on in the Hill. He's the author of I think a book that everybody should have in their library that deals with people. It's called The Christ Cure, 10 Biblical Ways to Heal from Trauma, Tragedy, and PTSD. And there's a picture of the cover of that book. If you're a pastor or you're a ministry leader of any at any level, you should have a copy of this book. It's not something you read and put back on the shelf. You'll end up writing in the margins. It's a great resource. And check out his website, drtimmurphy.com. And there's a picture of the landing page. Dr. Murphy, good to see you again, friend. How are you?
Great to be with you. Thank you so much for having me on.
You bet. Of course, you've lived in Washington, D.C. How bad is the crime there?
Well, the murder rate is actually worse than it is in Baghdad. Twice as bad per 100,000. We hear some stories of carjackings, of murders, of shootings, of harassment, but we also don't hear a lot of the crime because many times the police are told to stand down, don't chase. That happens in many cities, as a matter of fact, where police are told just because someone runs a stop sign and goes through a red light, has a burned out taillight, don't stop them. You need more than one cause for that. And so police in the past have used that for situations such as checking the vehicle, finding guns are unauthorized, or checking the occupants, finding that they may have a criminal record. But the worry came that perhaps the claim that police were just harassing people by pulling them over. So we lost those episodes where police could catch someone who maybe was wanted, who was fleeing the police, and also some crimes are just underreported. So it's worse than it is out there. I know I don't feel safe walking in Washington, D.C. Heck, even members of Congress carry guns when they're out there. Once you leave the Capitol grounds, I'm concerned about it. Now, that doesn't mean it's rampant crime all the time, but it certainly is significant enough, especially in some neighborhoods where people don't feel safe. And so given that this is the seat of our federal government, there's many dignitaries and officials walking about, and they don't all have their own security team or Secret Service walking with them. It is important to secure the safety for all the citizens, and particularly those who are low income and the poor, who worry themselves. Sometimes the what do they call it? The bigotry of low expectations. Think, well, these people in these criminal neighborhoods, they don't really care much about it, but they do. These moms and dads and kids do care that the crime rate is high, that gangs are active in some parts of the city, so they do want it under control. And in the past, the governments of Washington, D.C. have sort of shrugged their shoulders and says, what are you going to do? Many cities have cashless bail. They say, well, what are you going to do? We shouldn't be putting people in prison. Maybe it makes them worse. Maybe it's a drug crime. But the point is, when one shrugs their shoulders and turns away from all this, you end up with more crime when people see that, well, there's nothing can be done. Or maybe we're punishing people and that's not right. Let's not, is it in Luke's gospel where he talks when Jesus says, wouldn't someone go for the one sheep that was lost and let the other 99 stand? Well, we have become a government in many cities where we just ignore them all. If someone's lost, they turn the other way instead of saying, we should reach out, we should do some things for such people. And so I think it is right for President Trump to take some steps, controversial in some ways, but certainly take steps to secure the safety of the nation's capital, and I suspect other cities as well.
Two questions immediately pop up. So that says that the stats were wrong on crime. He addressed that. He went after the people that were giving phony stats, statistics about what's going on. And I guess the other question, Dr. Murphy, is how did this happen in our nation's capital?
It was a step-by-step eroding away of the moral structure and the law enforcement structure. That particularly happened a few years ago during the defund the police movement, Black Lives Matter movement. Certainly nobody wants to see any police officer attack anybody of any color and use more restraint than is absolutely necessary for them. But it became a movement that the pendulum swung too far away, and people said, don't arrest, don't go after people with crime. But actually, the situation in Washington, D.C. has been eroding for a while. In the time that I commuted to there often, you didn't hear anybody running for office to say, we're going to be tough on crime. Nobody in that city should have to worry about safety at any time. But over the last several years, it has gotten worse. In the previous administration, even though things were bad then, they didn't step in. And, you mentioned that about the statistics. Some say, well, actually, crime has been lower in Washington, D.C. now than for a while. Yeah, gone down from extremely high levels, but two factors with that. One, it was so very, very high that any movement was going to be positive. And two, what I opened up with saying, they're not counting a lot of the crimes. And so therefore, it looks pretty good when you don't count the problems, but that's not making the problems go away.
Okay. Mixed into all of this is the homelessness. It's a big issue. You and I have talked briefly about it, and I do want to go down that road. But how bad is the homelessness in the city?
It's very visible, and it's a problem in the city. Our hearts go out to those who are without a home. There's many of these little tent encampments throughout the city. There's many people sleeping on subway grates right in front of buildings, right down Pennsylvania Avenue. There are people who bathe in the reflecting ponds for the Lincoln Monument. There are people who just sleep right out in the open. They'll sleep on a park bench. And sometimes what they do to keep them off park benches, they may put an extra railing on the park bench to keep someone from sleeping there. But in some areas, you see a lot of nice tents have gone up. Perhaps someone's contributed to these tents. You'll see encampments of several dozen tents in some places that I've seen. It's not clean. It's not safe. It's not healthy. What the city has done and what some groups have done is they'll provide meals for them, a breakfast or a lunch, perhaps some blankets, and those are good to have for them, but it doesn't solve the problem. And in our nation's capital, to see this right out front, it is a black eye in our nation to say, what is this that we're not caring for those who are poor and tired and hungry and imprisoned? And simply leaving them there is not an answer. Ignoring them is not an answer. Denying they have a problem is not an answer. But I've also heard from some people, some elected officials and others say, well, they want to live there. They don't want a home. They don't want to move their life up. And I don't believe that's true at all. I think after a while, if people feel, well, if they're mentally ill and they end up in jail and they end up getting beat up in jail because there's a high risk of violence for someone who's mentally ill who's put in jail, they may say, I'd rather be homeless or live in a tent than be in a jail cell and have the risks that go with that. So it's a complex issue, but ignoring it is not going to be a way of dealing with it. And so the president said, we're going to take care of the homeless. And it's interesting how he said this, because there's some concerns how this is done, that they would be asked to go into hospitals or care, or they would be arrested and sent to jail. Now, I don't agree that that's the approach to handle this, because I say, well, what hospitals are they supposed to go to? What homeless shelters are they supposed to go to if we don't have enough room for them? So those are some of the problems.
So some have said that the homeless issue, whether it's in D.C. or other places, basically falls into three categories: mental health, addiction, or housing crises. Is that being fair?
That's a pretty good summary. Some who are temporarily out of work and may be there for a short period of time. When you look at the mental health issues, it's about 70% of the homeless have some level of mental health issue. And in lifetime, it's more like close to 90%, particularly for men, have a mental illness concern. About 40% have a serious mental illness, such as schizophrenia or bipolar manic depression disorder, which requires medication and a lot of care. And such persons, particularly those with schizophrenia, characteristically are not aware they have an illness. Much like if you know someone who has suffered from Alzheimer's, try and tell them that they have a problem and they don't believe it. They don't understand it. The condition is called anosognosia. And so many of those who may be homeless and with schizophrenia, when you try and convince them they need care, they need medicine, they may lapse into a paranoid state and say, well, you're trying to do this to me. You may be part of the FBI or someone out to plot to get me. I need to stay here in order to keep the world from collapsing. Remember years ago, there was a gentleman who went to the U.S. Capitol and shot some police because he believed there was a red light, a gem in the Capitol that was affecting the conditions in the city and the universe. So the point is they need care. The second category mentioned was addiction. And yes, a lot of people do have addictive disorders. One of the worst places in the country to visit is an area in Philadelphia called Kensington Park, where drug use is wide open, where doctors will actually be there to inject people with drugs, where there's needles and drugs in the street, where people on fentanyl and some of the other drugs, you'll actually see them characteristic, they'll be standing up but doubled over. So their body will be bent over from the effects of this drug. And I don't mean one or two. I mean, you'll see lots and lots of people like that. And now and then the mayor and the city will say, all right, let's clean this up. They go up the street, they take people off, but they don't get them into long-term care programs. And so many of those folks, because they're spending everything they've got on drugs, they'll be homeless too and trying to find some way of getting money to get their next fix. And unfortunately, a lot of times they're doing to earn money, might be prostitution or some other problem that they have as well. So it's an awful situation, but they do need help with dealing with their drug addiction. The third category mentioned about housing. When dealing with a mentally ill, you can't just say, well, we'll have a shelter for them. You need a place that provides treatment. I visited some places in Santa Monica, California, where it's like a 3-story building, maybe 20 apartments, so it's a small number. But there'll be a social worker or a nurse at the desk, and as people come and go during the day, that person's always checking. Have you taken any medications? Here, I've got them for you. Let me see you take them. They help the people find small jobs that maybe just work in their own coffee shop, cleaning up the building. They'll help the people find other jobs and work in rehabilitation, make sure they get counseling. It's those sort of wrap around the services that are important. Now, there's some people who block that and stand in the way. It says, oh, no, you should just give them housing and not have a demand for treatment. And that's why I part company with those who are talking about disability rights to say they have a right to refuse treatment. They have a right to be ill. They have a right to die with their rights on. And that simply is not adequate for those who have a severe addiction or severe mental illness. They need a lot of help. And ignoring them or pretending that they can make decisions on their own is incredibly inhuman.
Okay, let me take a quick break. A couple things. Check out his website, drtimmurphy.com. There's a picture of the landing page there. And certainly get a copy of his book. I think you'll find this to be extremely resourceful. The Christ Cure, 10 Biblical Ways to Heal from Trauma, Tragedy, and PTSD. We'll be right back.
Clean water is essential to your good health. Ultra Pure Purified Water has been delivering purified, healthy drinking water to the Rogue Valley since 1995. Locally owned and family run, Ultra Pure Purified Water uses a multi-stage process ensuring your delivery of water is 99.8% pure, so your family stays hydrated and healthy. Online at ultrapurewaterinc.com or call 541-734-0828. 541-734-0828.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
It's your time to fly. Let's make it convenient. We are your airport. Fly MFR.
Watch the 700 Club every weekday. We bring you compelling interviews with the information you need for better health, stronger finances, and a more abundant life. Every day you'll hear inspiring stories from right here at home and across the globe. We cover the issues that matter most to you and your family. For thoughtful analysis and insight into the news of the day from a biblical perspective.
Watch the 700 Club Monday morning at 11 on the Dove TV.
All right, welcome back. Honored to have back with us today Dr. Tim Murphy. He's a licensed psychologist, and you may want to check out his book called The Christ Cure, 10 Biblical Ways to Heal from Trauma, Tragedy, and PTSD. I think this is a great resource for anybody that's in ministry leadership. You should have a copy of this book. He's also the clinical director of Fortis Future, a center focusing on the care of veterans, military, and first responders suffering from PTSD. And he has a website, drtimmurphy.com. Sticking with the subject of homelessness just for a moment, Dr. Murphy, and we talked about, I guess you could say mental health, addiction, and housing being the 3 categories. The fourth would be those who are temporarily maybe out of work. I get that. But I'm trying to think, a person in your profession, how in the world do you see the line between genuine clinical mental health and bad effects of drug use?
Well, oftentimes people who have a severe mental illness, such as schizophrenia, unfortunately have turned to other drugs and alcohol for self-medication. They're also very vulnerable, and in the communities, maybe a tent community or somewhere else, they may have someone who gives them some drugs, and next, there's an addiction there too. So it is something that one needs treatment on both. For that. There's also the medication issue. There are some effective medications for people with schizophrenia, but we do not have a cure. It's a brain disease that deteriorates over time. And we do know there are some medications which can help considerably for persons with schizophrenia. But one of the dilemmas that occurs, Perry, is someone may start feeling better and say, I feel great now. I don't need my medication anymore. Yeah. And they stop, and so they lapse back.
Yeah. That roller coaster is probably one of the toughest ones to manage.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. And it breaks your heart because someone can get help. But here's where one of the big dilemmas take place. Can we access care, and how do you get people into care? So through the Americans with Disability Act, someone is entitled to get care, but not necessarily in an institution. You may recall there used to be huge institutions in every state around the country that would house thousands of people. They weren't designed for housing thousands of people, but they were actually set up in a movement led by someone named Dorothea Dix in the late 1800s and 1900s to take the mentally ill out of jails and being chained up there and punished, and have institutions asylums where they could be cared for. But they became overcrowded and places of abuse. So in 1965, Congress passed a law, and President Johnson worked on this, say we're going to close these places down by saying you can only have 16 beds in a hospital. And by the way, Medicaid's not going to pay for more than 14, 15 days of treatment. Then you have to be booted out if you do go to a hospital. And by the way, lifetime limit is 120 days. Well, these are lifetime chronic illnesses, and sometimes it takes more than 2 weeks just to get a person off the other medications or drugs so you could stabilize them. When I worked at Walter Reed Bethesda Hospital, we would sometimes have veterans come in who are on 8, 9, 10, 12 different psychiatric drugs, then drugs to counteract the effects of the drugs, and drugs to counteract the effects of the counteracting drugs. We'd have to get people off of all the drugs just to find out who they were. And that could take a couple weeks. Now, if you have someone with a severe mental illness and maybe using street drugs or another medication, it takes a while to stabilize them. But what happens is just they get stabilized, you haven't established housing for them or long-term treatment programs, the government says, get them out of here. Literally, out the door. And so they may go out and try and readmit at that hospital or find another hospital for them. But with the 16-bed limit, there's just not any room for them. And it breaks the heart to say, what are we supposed to do with these folks? Because they do have severe problems. So when President Trump says, let them get help, great. But when they passed the big, beautiful bill and other things coming up, it would have been great if they would have funded some of these things or eliminated that 16-bed rule and say Medicaid can pay for their care, because it is more expensive to not care for them.
Do you think the government will ever see the advantages of reaching out to the faith community that has programs that are far more successful than anything the government could ever offer? I mean, I know right here in our own backyard, we got several of them, and their success rate is through the roof, but they struggle to stay alive. I mean, is there a bridge we could make between some of the fundings out there going to organizations that really get good results?
A great question, and you're right. When you include a faith-based program helping the homeless, it makes a world of difference. I mean, these are people who have lost hope, but hope comes through faith, right, of things unseen. And that is where out of the couple 100,000 churches in America, we can certainly see if they were funded, the ones that do have homeless and outreach programs in their ministry, it could be a huge difference. Now, I know the head of faith-based initiatives of the White House, Reverend Paul White, is working on these things, working with HUD. But we really need this throughout the nation, everywhere we can go, and make sure it's funded. The last administration had more suspicions of anything was faith-based. We need to trust those that are faith-based. Of course, with accountability, it says, here's some funds, but show us what you did, show us how you did it, and show us your success. By the way, I might add that when governments, counties, and states get money on how they're going to spend government federal dollars on that, no one says to them, all right, tell us your success rate. We gave you several $1 million or whatever it was. Tell us what you did. The most states may say, well, we served this many people. Well, are they better? Did you follow up with them? Where are they? So, for example, one of the bizarre statistics that was sent out in 2024 is in December 2024, they said, here's the homeless rate in the nation. It was the January numbers, but they didn't put out to December. And therefore, Congress couldn't do a thing. They couldn't react to this because they were hiding data. It came out at the end of 2024. There was a problem. And they noted there was some success in some areas. But what they do, Perry, is they take the low-hanging fruit. That is, those people who are healthy, not those who are severely mentally ill, and you can help them. Those with addictions, maybe. But the ones with heavy addictions to awful drugs and with schizophrenia, if you're still at 40, 50%, 60% are not getting help, you can look pretty good if you're taking care of that top tier. So what we need is for churches to pair up with good mental health professionals, mental health coaches, for example, who can work with the mentally ill, help monitor them, educate them, support them, refer them, work with those. In every church in America, there should be someone trained as a mental health coach to work with, for example, veterans and first responders and others. I know that in my work with the American Association of Christian Counselors, we'll be coming out very soon with a course I've recorded specifically towards veterans and first responders, too.
You know, if it was done on the merit basis, the faith community would win every time.
Absolutely.
And you know what's interesting to me? We've seen this in raw form. Look at FEMA versus Samaritan's Purse.
Oh.
It's not even
comparable. Yeah, not even close.
Not even close. So it would seem to me that if we could maybe have some kind of a push in Congress to go to the merit base when it deals with this problem, because the faith base will do it with heart, they do it with soul, and they do it with profession. And I just can't help but think that I look at the organizations here in our backyard, they by far are saving lives and turning people around. They're not numbers, they're not statistics, they're not a number on a spreadsheet, they're human beings.
Absolutely. And we were commanded to take care of them.
Yeah. What are you working on?
Well, I just mentioned this course I recorded for the American Association of Christian Counselors. It's a 24-part lectures to train people to be certified as mental health coaches to work with veterans and first responders. We oftentimes think of veterans with PTSD. We don't think of those police officers and firefighters and paramedics. Paramedics are keen to tell me that the worst day of your life is every day for them. The things they see, the auto accidents, the horror, the murders, the suicide attempts, the drug overdoses, they're things they see, and those weigh heavily on their mind and on their soul, and as well as what firefighters and police officers have to deal with every day. Police officers are at war every day. So the idea will be that a person could sign up for this and take the course, be certified. My hope is that someone in every church is trained to deal with that group, and someone in every church can become a mental health coach for them, those with mental illnesses too.
Can they learn that from your website?
Not yet. I haven't posted it yet, but we'll get it up there soon as it's ready.
All right, let us know. In the meantime, check out his website anyway, drtimmurphy.com, and get a copy of this book. I'm telling you, folks, you're going to want it in your library. You're going to refer to it often. It's a great resource. The Christ Cure, 10 Biblical Ways to Heal from Trauma, Tragedy, and PTSD. There's a picture of the cover of the book on the screen. Dr. Murphy, thank you, friend. God bless you for your work. We need you to stay there.
God bless you, too.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
I'll keep working. Bye.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
Get ready, Southern Oregon. The ROC Recovery Center, together with NIC Industries, Southern Oregon Signs, Happy Camper, Nick Alexander Films, My Grace Point, and theDove is proud to present the 6th Annual Strong and Courageous Recovery Festival. Join us Saturday, September 6th at Harry and David Ballpark for a powerful day of hope, healing, and community. The action starts at 8 a.m. with an 8-team softball tournament featuring local businesses and recovery agencies. And don't miss the return of the fan favorite Guns N' Hoses game as Medford and Central Point Police face off with local firefighters in the ultimate battle for the badges. Bring the whole family. Starting at 10 a.m., the Kids Carnival Zone opens with pony rides, a petting zoo, face painting, carnival booths, and of course, great food. All proceeds support recovery services at the Rock Recovery Center. For more information, call 541-200-3000 or visit rockrecoverycenter.org.
You're watching theDove TV, encouraging and informative for Chico and the North State. Seen on KKRM 11, Channel 21, and these Dove TV affiliates.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Let's Make a Deal.
I'll take door number 2.
There he is, right there.
Behind door number 2.
This is what you got behind door number 2 right here. We selected it. Anyway, good morning. Welcome to Boardings on the Dove. And a lot going on. Another high-stake meeting in Washington, D.C. as we speak. We'll keep you updated on that. And, you know, the weekend had a touch of fall to it.
Boy, how about that?
Yeah, warm days, very pleasant days, cool nights, and a lot of trees are starting to turn already.
Yeah, how about that little bit of rain we got?
A little bit of rain.
Huh?
The acorns are falling.
Hey, guess what? Don't hold your breath for more cool weather.
Yeah, I know
it's going to start climbing.
See, that's it. We have short days, so you have warm days and cool nights.
Yeah.
That turns the leaves.
But you know, we're going back to the upper 90s.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yep.
All right. Good morning to you. Well, it's hard to believe. Some school has started. Some school will be starting. And then we're only 2 weeks away from all the schools starting.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, happy Monday to you. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well.
What do you got?
It's a beautiful Monday morning, and it is National Mail Order Catalog Day.
Really?
And what was once the most popular way to shop is remembered each year on this day as National Mail Order Catalog Day. And did it ever stop? The only difference is our catalogs are online.
Well, yes.
You know that big Amazon catalog?
Yeah, that's the big one.
Start flipping through it.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I still get some mail order catalogs.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
miss the ones that used to get in the little seat pocket in front of you when you flew on an airplane.
Oh, yeah. That was, what was the name?
That was the one that looked, because they had all the cool gadgets in it.
Yes, and a lot of sharper image stuff in there. And yes.
Yeah.
I always paged through that stuff.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Well, this day marks the anniversary of the first Montgomery Ward's mail order catalog. It was on this day in 1872. Aaron Montgomery Ward of Chicago produced a catalog designed for direct order via mail. He aimed to remove the middleman from the business of buying and bullying. They think salesmen are bullies? What?
Well, now, let's just redefine that.
Yes. So, but you know, it's interesting too because, you know, Montgomery Ward was on the cutting edge. They were on the front edge of this mail order business. How did they lose their way so much?
Well, that and Sears.
See, exactly.
The Sears catalog was in every outhouse in America.
Oh, we lived on the farm. We lived out of the Sears and the Montgomery Ward's catalogs.
Yeah.
That's how, back to school shopping was in the catalog. That's the way we did it.
Yeah.
So how did they miss the boat?
Well, I don't know if they did.
Montgomery Ward folded in 2001, and their name was bought by a direct marketing company.
Yeah.
And I went online and I went to the Montgomery Ward website, and it's an online shopping set. And I thought, why would anybody go here? I can get all this stuff someplace else.
I don't know. I don't know. I do know that special manufacturers have their catalog, like Orvis.
Right.
Land's End.
Yes.
You know, you can get these
Cole Haan.
Yeah. So, but I will say this: if you snoop around, you can't even beat their prices.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Where do you
Some of them you can.
Wait a
Some of them
minute.
you can't. Some of them are exclusive.
Where are you snooping?
Well, when it comes to Cole Haans, I snoop all over the place.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. National Fajita Day.
Oh.
Recognizing the sizzling deliciousness of savory Tex-Mex flavor found in fajitas. And did you know it's really cowboy food? In the early 1930s, Mexican vaqueros in southwest Texas developed what we've grown to love all over the U.S. Using throwaway cuts of beef, they developed the fajita. And it became a staple in the region, and these cowboys cooked the steak over an open fire or grill. Once cooked, they served it with flour or corn tortillas. In later years, with pico de gallo, guacamole, Southwest spices, it all elevated the fajita. Soon the fajita, convenient meal for hardworking cowboys, made an introduction to new audiences, and it has been a destination food in the culinary world ever since. And you know, I love it when I order fajitas, or maybe you order fajitas, and when when it's coming out of the kitchen, because it's sizzling and you can smell it across the room.
The oil.
It's fabulous.
It gets all over that, and you have to go home and change clothes.
Yeah, that too.
Smells like fajita.
And then you can top it off with ice cream pie, because it is National Ice Cream Pie Day. It is the second ice cream holiday in August, and it honors a refreshing frozen dessert that comes in many delicious flavors, because first came putting ice cream on pies, and then the natural next step would be making ice cream into pies. With all the flavors available, your options are unlimited.
But they put them in a cone.
Yeah, or you could do that, and of course, you figure in the different types of crusts to make ice cream pie, and the concept is beyond delightful, whether it's graham crackers or the standard traditional type pie crust. Okay, now let's travel. You have traveled through the southern hemisphere, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think where, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, New Zealand, yes.
New Zealand, yeah. And
Australia.
Australia. Well, did you realize, run that tape if you guys have that. Did you know that approximately 90% of the world's population lives in the northern hemisphere?
No, I didn't.
90%. This includes regions such as North America, Europe, and most of Asia, which all have larger land masses and more densely populated areas compared to the southern hemisphere. Other factors such as the concentration of major population centers and favorable climates contribute to this distribution. 90% live above the equator. Oh, is that crazy?
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. I didn't have a clue. I thought, wait a minute. Maybe, do we have any overcrowding in the northern hemispheres?
Well, then there's that, what I think they call it the 1040 window.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, the 1040 window is between, if I remember correctly, we got smart people out there, they'll correct me, but it's between the southern and the northern hemisphere, kind of just above the equator a little bit. And the 1040 window is where the vast majority